you got to get into your 90s bag for that. And I think that these young dudes push them more. And when they're in the room with an ex, they're chasing something that ain't there no more. It's a different energy, and they bring something that's like 70%, 60, 70%. You know, because when you hear the locks with these other dudes, they sound fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's just a different style. They're not used to that shit. But we'll get back to that another.
Yeah, it's weird, bro. Like,
yeah.
Welcome to the next episode of VGXL. My name is Daniel, aka Games. Joining us as always is Jose, aka El Torrente, and AutoCAD, aka Dakota. What's going on, guys? How y'all doing tonight?
Good.
Chilling, man.
Yeah, busy week. Oh yeah, and I keep forgetting to say this, and for anybody new who might be listening, definitely follow us at VGXL Podcast on Twitter and everywhere else. Video Games X Life. If you listen to the YouTube, thank you so much. If you want to switch to the audio or vice versa, we're also on hosting sites, so Spotify and the like.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that was fun. So I know a lot of you guys saw us on socials, saw me discussing JNL. Thank you, shout out to JNL if you're listening. They hosted us a little bit to at the studio over there, but fortunately a lot of our audio got messed up, so I know people have been looking forward to that. So if you listen to this, the audio is a little bit, it's not bringing the level of quality you expect here at
VGXL.
Exactly.
We know you guys have gotten used to the perfection in our the way we're organized.
Yeah. I mean, at least the audio's
sure that we are up to par with our own high level of service.
Exactly. But in all seriousness, is like, I don't want to release something that's gonna sound crazy and not be that good. So we're gonna re-record. If anything, what I was thinking, is we can chop that up. I'm gonna do something with it. I definitely want to start the Patreon. So people can support. People have asked me how they can support what we got going, and there's not a whole lot. I know on Anchor, if you want to subscribe there, you can always do that, but it's not a big deal. It's not what we're after right now. But just for some additional content, I'll probably I'll throw that on the Patreon. Maybe that'll be one of the first things people can hear. Or what a mess. It's not that much of a mess, but enough that you can still experience it, and then we'll go from there. And then you'll definitely see us in the studio soon, doing a lot, sounding much better.
So we'll be headed back soon, and we'll be a little more organized. There was just a lot of different audio sources, was what it was.
Exactly.
We didn't game plan for that they'd all be kind of separate sources trying to meld it into one.
Yeah. So it is what it was.
I didn't know anything of what I was doing.
Yeah.
I'm terrible at that kind of stuff. I'm the visual guy.
Exactly. Yeah. No, exactly. And not for nothing, it was a learning experience. And this last week, I've been watching that YouTube University hard. So I did get a lot out of the experience. Not for nothing. I think it's gonna guarantee us a dope next session. And that's great. I mean, that's kind of like our first little sponsorship there, getting some studio space, not really charging us anything, and that's really, really dope, and I appreciate that. Again, if you've never heard of JNL, definitely check them out. They're on Twitter. They have a website. It's a local store here in the city. They sell all kinds of stuff. You're into retro and all that, definitely check them out. They ship I think anywhere in the United States. Maybe international, I'm not sure, but definitely check out their website. I think it's like jlgame.com or something like that.
Yeah, very cool store, very cool vibe, lots of good stuff. I'd seen stuff in there that I haven't seen in years, so that was awesome. Just seeing the old gear, like even some of the figurines. Had a Tomb Raider like figurine, like don't even know what they got.
Oh, okay.
They got a huge section of retro and a huge section of amiibos.
Yeah,
exactly.
Current gen, last gen, doesn't matter what generation it is, the store has it, and most of all, it's gonna bring you back to a time where people knew what they were talking about in a video game store.
Exactly.
If you ask an opinion about a video game, they're gonna know what it's about. They're gonna give you their honest opinion, and you make sure you get your money's worth.
Exactly.
They're for their points program, so that's nice too.
Right? No upselling and none of that bullshit. And
exactly.
in the website's actually the letters JN as in Nancy L game.com. So definitely check that out. Like I said, I think that is awesome that they ship. And and I think that's great because a lot of these little stores don't do that. They just rely on their local traffic. So the fact that they can ship out is pretty dope. So
it's not bad at all.
Yeah, if you guys want to support a local business, that's definitely the one. They're definitely legendary in New York City.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Been in
man.
the game for like 30 years, man. Shit.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's crazy. Like, my first experience going over there was like literally to buy Dance Dance Revolution at like 15 years old in 99 or 2000 or something like that. And I went all the way down at that's when they were down at Chinatown. And I thought that was pretty awesome. Like I think it's awesome about that they're still around after all these years, after everything around us. You always hear us talk about that obscure store, Cyber Games, that's been closed for like 15 years now. But they stuck it out, and that's awesome. It's hard for a lot of game stores to do that.
Yeah.
But we'll be back with that for sure. We'll definitely be seeing some more in person podcast recordings, and we'll definitely keep you guys posted. But yeah, man, you guys been playing anything this week? Anything interesting? Any video games?
Honestly, man, this has been a week full of just content creation. It feels like it's just been a lot of running around, the regular work and then the creative work on the side. I haven't had any time to play anything this week.
Not for nothing, this is probably one of the first weeks in a while I didn't play anything this week. No, that's a lie. I played a little bit of Biomutant on my stream at twitch.tv / Video Games X Life. No, but I played a little bit on stream on Friday. And I played a little Biomutant, and I was like JNL had given me the game to play, so we're playing a little bit of that, and I just wasn't feeling like, just not even the game, just I didn't feel like playing like an adventure, just didn't feel like playing video games. So I just threw on Fall Guys, and I haven't touched Fall Guys in months, which I'm sure a lot of people have put it down after the hype. And all the updates and all the stuff they've changed, even graphically, it looks freaking amazing.
Yeah, it's fun, right? It's more responsive. You don't like flap around as much. Like, it's fun. It's a good time.
Yeah, and I can't believe this.
Really?
Yeah, like it looks amazing. Like they fixed up the colors and the lighting a lot, and then on top of that, now they got private games, so like you can just play with a bunch of friends playing that shit. Like, I'm definitely gonna be setting up some community events with that one.
I have to have like future maps and like medieval kind of themes, so different, way more variety, different game modes. You can play with a squad now. You can play by yourself. So I finally won maybe like 3 weeks ago now, and it's pretty fucking thrilling, I gotta say.
Yeah, I think I've won like
I was quite amazed.
I've probably like 3 games myself in total out of like probably like over 100 matches I've played of that. And yeah, this definitely feels crazy. It feels like a regular win in like a battle, like any other battle royale. Like you feel that adrenaline like pumping after. It's like yes. Yeah. But I actually had the most fun with that game this week. Other than that, like I didn't play anything. I've been rearranging my home. With everything going, like Jose, like you mentioned, like content creation is because has really ramped up. I was trying to fix that episode that we recorded in person. I keep saying live, it wasn't live, in person, and I was learning how to be an audio engineer. It would have taken me like weeks to really make it sound good, because of work, the kids, all that. So I'm like, so you know what? After I started to give up on it, and I was like, you know what? I need my workspace to be dope, and it's like, for me, I need a clean workspace, even though I don't keep it that way.
I hear you.
You know what I mean? But it's just like, if we're gonna do this serious, Buffer's talking about going full time. Like, our house gotta match up to that standard. It gotta look fire in this place, and that way
all the walls white. You gotta throw out pretty much all of your belongings.
Right? It's a desk, a camera, and my microphone. That's it. Kids, you sleep outside.
Yeah, kids, get the fuck out of here. No space for kids.
Sorry. Oh man. But yeah, we got
a lot of games though. I guess I like took you guys' place. I did nothing. I mean, I too was creating content, made a bunch of music this week, made some cool samples and stuff like that. So getting better there. But then I played Star Citizen. Star Citizen was free this past week and a half or so. So I downloaded that, and it's a good time. It's really quite fun. It's expansive, it's vast, everything's really detailed.
I did not know that game actually came out. Like, I remember when they were like,
well, it's not out.
It's not out?
It's still not out.
It's still in like alpha, yeah.
But it's Still not
Oh,
out. Yeah,
that makes sense then. I didn't know it was even in that stage. I remember
yeah.
thinking this fucking game is never gonna actually happen.
I
Like it
know.
kept getting pushed back and delayed and things. Any like advancements was like followed by a setback. It felt like.
Yeah.
Not for nothing, like it's been under controversy because in order to play the game, you got to buy a ship. Like you literally got to dead ass buy a ship that belongs to you in the game, and then
Right.
it starts at like $45, but you can buy a ship that costs $2,000. And there's been people who have dropped
Compared to when
like,
it first started.
oh, that's right.
When it
Well,
first started, it was like legit like 15,000 for this like fleet or whatever, this fucking Star Cruiser. Like crazy prices, like legit. Because you were like a founder, you know what I mean? Like if you want to be like a
right.
founder, you know what I mean? So you got a cool ship with it, but like 15,000, like
Yeah, and I've heard people have dropped like 30 to 60 grand on that. I'm not even sure, but I know there was like a controversy because people were dropping big money on that, and the last big update they had was a roadmap to a roadmap. So they had a roadmap literally saying when they were going to have a roadmap for the game, and then they were supposed to do like a single player game that still had that's not, I don't know if it got canceled or they're just not doing it, but a single player like story version of the same game.
that's
And
what I'm excited about. Have you seen any of that?
no.
That shit is fire. Look at the just look up the cast list for Squadron 42, which is what the single player campaign is gonna be
Right.
called. Look up the fucking cast list. Just take a second. We can edit out the time lapse. Just tell me, and then you'll see where I think the hundreds of millions that they've actually funded so far have gone, mainly.
What's it called again?
I think it's
Squadron
Squadron
42.
42. Yeah. Now, I will say the
Oh
persistent universe, which is
wow,
on,
Mark Hamill's in this.
bro, Gary Oldman, Mark Hamill. I think it's got Scully.
That shit's got
Colin-
everyone.
yeah. It's
Twisted
only
Tea,
missing like
hard
I don't know
iced
Willem
tea.
Dafoe and like Samuel L. Jackson.
This shit
Like,
got me.
yeah.
Right? Like, yo, yo, Jose's in this?
Yo, you know what's funny? I saw a meme that said Gary Oldman is such an amazing actor that one day you're gonna be walking through the street and you're gonna hear cut, and it's gonna be you and you're Gary Oldman playing yourself in a movie.
That's funny. That's
Yeah,
funny.
and that's the
Yo,
thing. Fucking Star Citizen always looked fire because when No Man's Sky dropped, that's when they went
yeah,
hard.
that's when they went hard because they were delivering everything that No Man's Sky promised.
Well, and here's the
Exactly.
thing. They give you this is No Man's Sky. Like if you've been playing the updated No Man's Sky, you know it's way better.
Is this Dana Scully?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's got Scully. I was saying I apologize because I don't remember her real name, but
Jillian.
yes, yeah, Scottish
Jill,
actress.
But
yeah,
what were you saying?
Jillian.
So
Um, it's persistent universe, which is the mode you can play. You can play like a first person shooter mode, and then it's persistent universe mode. Which is basically No Man's Sky. And I will say it does such a good job with the sense of scale. Like getting in a ship and leaving the atmosphere, you feel like you're leaving a fucking atmosphere. Like it feels like weighty and like vast. Like you're like, holy shit, this is an undertaking. Where like when you're in space, if you just stop your ship, you're like, holy fuck, like I am out here. Like when you're traveling to another planet, like No Man's Sky, you can zip there pretty quickly. It's a, pretty standard loading screen time. In this shit, if you're going to like the center of the galaxy or wherever the hell it is you are, if you're going all the way across it, it's gonna take you like 15 minutes.
oh
It's gonna take you
wow.
time as you travel, and it'll show you the distance, but you're going. And so like you're in the pilot seat, and it's just crazy. So you can rent these big ships. I'm gushing about it. I'm sorry. But like I rented this massive fucking ship, and then I set it towards like the center of the galaxy or whatever, and then I just get out the pilot seat. I'm walking around the rest of the ship. You know what I mean? And you can like fuck around and check out the rest, and you can go to like these observing like ports or like sections of the ship and look out into space. So just a bunch of shit like that just makes it very very cool.
Interesting. Yeah, because I'm like,
Yeah, not bad.
I mean, I know some of the No, it's all good, man. Like, I want to be interested in the game because when I like Jose was saying, we first saw it back in like 2016 when No Man's Sky dropped. It looked crazy. It was like, yo, what game is this? And then that's when we found out all the development hell shit that it was going through. But I do know why it's taking part of why it's taking so long. They were using Crisis Engine. And apparently that's not very good for like net play or something like that. and I think they had to like revamp like the underbelly or some shit. Like they switched from Crisis, like however the net code was for that, they switched it to Amazon's cloud service. And I think that's what like really pushed the game back because then they were getting sued. It's a lot. And I was following because I am interested in the game. It's just that and I'm sad I didn't have time. I might just do the shit where I can pay the $45. But what's funny, really quick.
Yeah, I might actually get it because this has been a really fun time. Like I play with one other friend, and it's kind of dope. Just see like you see everything. Everything's connected. So you see your boy coming into the atmosphere while you're on the home base. Like at
see,
the
that's
gallery.
fire. I love shit like that.
I think this is worth.
It's dope.
This is we gotta jump into this full head first.
Yeah,
Like
and
I'm down.
expanding, if they really build this, which and it really does look like they're gonna keep doing it. If they could now introduce like, because everything's like delivery and shit like that, you're hunting. You know, there's no base building, but if they can get to that place,
oh, if they get to base,
yeah, persistent bases where you can bump into like a house.
Positive that's already in their plans. Like,
yeah,
that would be truly insane.
This
right
game
now,
will be relevant in 2030 still if they do.
Yeah, if they did that, and it has the potential because it seems like a very open-ended kind of concept they have for it. So it's almost like an MMO.
Gameplay right now.
Yeah,
I was gonna. Once you have your hands, I'm sorry again.
No, go
once
ahead.
you have your hands on it, once you're actually like just doing it, it's just because it's like Microsoft Flight Simulator, except you go into space with it, and then you can hop out and then shoot shit.
Oh, and I have a HOTAS.
And deliver drugs, and then go buy like a new hat. You know what I mean? Or customize.
This in VR is gonna be very awesome.
He's saying I can use this. I can be like, I'm in a spaceship. Oh, that's awesome. Sorry.
And it has head tracking too. If you have a webcam, you can set it up that it'll track your head and your visor will move where you're looking.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm about to try to connect that with the Quest. I have the Galaxy Quest. That's a movie. I have the Oculus Quest. Jesus. That's fine. No, you're getting me hype. I definitely think because I'm in a mode right now where I don't feel like playing anything really. So not that I don't want to play video games, but I'm in a place right now where I can play something like go back to Final Fantasy or play something like this where there's no really end to it, but just to try it out, spend some time on it. No, so
it's like Valheim in space and No Man's Sky and fucking Elite Dangerous.
That's what I've always wanted. To something like Valheim or no, I pretty much always wanted something like No Man's Sky, but not everything is like, it's server based, instance based, you know what I mean? This is not instance then you're saying, right? It's just like one server or
no, it is. It's 50 player max per server.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's still good, I guess. It would have been cool
but
though.
if you're in the same room is when you start seeing all that cool shit, right? Like
people
coming into the atmosphere.
Yeah, but you just set up you just link up with your friends before and you say, all right, let's go, and then it throws you into a big galaxy. With, 50 other people, and that's it.
That's still pretty cool though, and that could be now. They could probably expand that later. So
I'm saying, yeah, if they get the server space and the the real backing, they get an interest. I think they could definitely expand it.
Yeah, I'm going hard on this game, man, because I wanted this shit years ago.
Yeah,
I was so excited for this. I remember bringing it up to you, games, and
it's 3 into the 3rd. So
yeah, and being like, dude, what the fuck is up with this game? Like, this shit needs to come out. Like, I've always been a fan of, like, just think about an open world. It feels like they're shooting to do like GTA in the sky.
Yeah, exactly. That's fire.
Oh, eventually what they're gonna aim for. Look at this shit. It looks insane.
And can't you? And the other thing, I don't know if you know about this, since you've been playing, but like you can get a big enough ship where we can all man the ship. Like you need a squad to run the ship. Did you know that? Like they have like those expensive ships like that cost like thousands.
Anything right now. The ship I rented out was legit, probably the size. I don't know, like a 10-story building. Like it was huge. Like I got in and I got lost in the ship. Like I shut the main back hatch and then I couldn't find like the pilot's deck. I kept running around and then I ran to like a tractor beam room and I ran to the engine room. Like I couldn't find the fucking command deck. And then
that's incredible because that's exactly what those ships are like.
Yeah. Like you had to like learn the layout of the ship, otherwise you get lost through all like the cargo areas. Like I had a bunch of cargo areas and the elevator down, like, and you had to figure out how to get like.
See, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Where you feel like you can't be like unloading something and then run to the fucking pilot. It like you need people doing their shit, or you're gonna get fucked up.
Yeah, exactly.
whenever you see like NASA footage of like the space station or like shuttles, and you really start underestimating how huge those things are.
Yeah.
Like you look at it, you see them from home. You don't really see those in person all the time.
Yeah.
Exactly, it's true. It's like it's so wild. What the funny story I was gonna say before was that a friend of mine who streams, he was playing this game. I was watching him play a little bit of it. He was saying the same thing. He was like gushing or whatever. And this guy, the creator of the game, came to his stream, and he's a nobody. He had like 2 people. He had like nobody. Came to his stream, and he was like, "Oh, do you know who Chris Roberts is?" He goes, "No, I have no idea who that is." To Chris Roberts, he told him that, and he was like, "Oh," he told him like, "I'm Chris Roberts." or what? Oh, I think he just said he was Chris Roberts. He's like, "Oh, all right," and then no idea who he was. And it wasn't until later that someone was like, "That's the creator of the game." He was like, "Are you kidding?" Like he freaked out because he didn't say anything to him. He was just like, "Okay, yeah, whatever, okay." So apparently he does that. So if you do stream this game, make sure if someone says they're Chris Roberts, maybe that's them.
It's funny.
I'll flip that shit on him. Chris, what's up, man?
Right? Yeah, like long time no see, bro. Like I've been waiting for you to show up.
Finally made it to the stream, you fucking nerd. What's going on, dude?
If you look at the I'm trying to see now. Hold on. Well, if you look at the name of the company, oh, you can't even see it because it's Roberts Space Industries.
Oh, look at that. See, exactly.
That's like the name of Roberts Space Industries. It's kind of cool, like the whole setup. Because even just to play the game, you kind of have to know tech. It's kind of like a barrier. It's like if you can't figure out how to buy the game, you can't even play it. And they kind of like make it difficult to buy it.
Interesting.
I think it's almost.
Like they don't want their servers being over flooded.
Because there's a learning curve, and it's like if you can't figure out how to buy the game, you're gonna have a bad time trying to figure out how to play the game.
I mean, I could see something like that, like instead, like not have casuals, have like people who legit know what they want, know what they're getting into, and not make it that some person's like, I don't like this game because it's like you're not, calm down. It's an alpha state still.
That's cool. Another topic we could talk about, like just like these crowdfunding games, like if they're good for business or the industry or productivity, because it seems like these games never come out when they're crowdfunded because it's like easy free money. It's like, why put it out? They'll stop giving us money if we put it out.
I mean, it's possible. Yeah, then that's when monetization kicks in. That's when it becomes okay. Now how do we keep it going? Yeah, no, you're right. Let's see. So I mean, yeah, because a lot happened this week. If you've been paying attention, a lot happened because one of the first things I want to talk about, what's been like fucking controversy as all hell, has been Horizon Zero Dawn, or not Zero Dawn, Horizon Forbidden West has been like. Did y'all saw the trailer, right?
Yeah, the gameplay and everything.
Yeah, the gameplay, the gameplay demo or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Did y'all think? Well, first, like, there's a lot going on with that. Did y'all think that Aloy even looked that different?
No, I didn't think she looked that different.
Because people are freaking out over it.
Design-wise, or like
her face. They're saying that she looks fat now, and they took away her femininity or whatever.
She was always a little chunkster. That was her character. She was always a little chonky.
People are freaking out. It's being memed everywhere. I don't know. Did you see what I sent you, Jose? I was like, Aloy's getting mad at you. Oh, you didn't see that? Oh my god.
Yeah, I did see that.
So that's an exaggerated version of that. It's like super fat.
Or my white girl's little thick, anyways, man.
But yeah, there's this picture going around where she's looking angry at the camera or whatever. You can probably find it if you look for it real quick. And yeah, people are like freaking out, like, oh, she doesn't look as cute and blah blah blah. And
what?
And I'm
I think that's what happens when you start dipping your toes into 4K.
This is the shit I'm talking about, bro.
Exactly.
Like, I'm so tired of this shit. Like, shut the fuck up.
It's stupid,
real. Like, it's not a real character. Like, this is gonna be an awesome game. I don't give a fuck I don't care what anyone says. Part 1 was so good. I don't give a fuck what her face looks like. You can put my face on her, and I will play this game, bro. Like, stop looking for reasons to make everything fucking corny, man. Shit.
Yo, it's.
There are some reasons that I will bring up shortly to be upset with the trailer, but it's not her face.
Yeah, it's not her face.
It's not her face. It's not her character design that was not changed in any meaningful way.
I mean, we can dive a little deeper on that. I know the main, because we're gonna be talking about, we have a main topic we're gonna be talking about. But yeah, I did see, because me and you kind of had a little sidebar about that, and I did have a problem with the lighting. It was a little weird. Like, yes, it looked great. Like, at first glance, you see it moving, and it looked wild. It's like, yo, is this gameplay or is that? Like, I couldn't believe it was gameplay when it started happening at first, right. But it just had a weird, like, glow. I don't know if it was my. I don't think it was just my, because I looked at it on my phone too, and it still had this weird, like, sheen to it. Did you notice that?
Like a filter, right?
Yeah, like something weird about it. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it.
One of the first comments that I saw, and it kind of, for me at least, it hit the nail on the head, is it looked like an Unreal Engine demo. It has that Unreal lighting that it's so movie-like that on its own it looks amazing. As soon as you put it into context, it looks wild, because just like, why is there constant, who's hovering over her with the lamp? Like, that's not real. Why is her hair always like the most brightly lit fucking thing on the planet?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the lighting was like, it was weird. And maybe that's what it was. Like, she looked bright all the time, or I don't know. It's like, it didn't look like a natural area. Yeah, it looked like it wanted to be cartoony and realistic at the same time. I don't know. It's like don't get me wrong. I know it's gonna be fun. I think it looks dope. I thought what they showed looked dope. You know, it's still very prepared, because you were saying it looked kind of like that whole on rails feel, but that's Sony. I feel like they always do that. Like, they always do like a weird, like, prepare. Obviously that elephant's probably gonna be way harder to kill. She already knew it was gonna die. Like when she hit the belly, like, it was so like prepared, you know, for
on the real game. Like, there's shit in the original gameplay from the first game, and they switch all that shit up.
Yeah.
And even in the game by itself, the game is designed so that things don't happen twice exactly the way they happened before. Like, I can't count how many times I've been gearing up for a crazy battle with like 2 sawtooths or some shit, and then I'll come by that same area and they're gone.
Yeah, exactly.
Weird shit like that.
Patterns are different, yeah.
I see what you mean about it looking like she has a constant lamp on her, because I don't know anything about creating games on Unreal Engine. That's not my thing. What it looks like to me, though, is like if you put her on a separate layer from everything else, and the light is following her all the time. And for something like Unreal, which is like heavy on the lighting part of it, it's weird that part doesn't make sense. Like, her hair should get dark when she goes through the bushes, or when the sun's peeking through trees, she should become a shadow. That's not happening here. She's remaining like this glowing figure.
You're right. You know what? That's exactly what it is. Exactly. Like, you're right. I'm watching it right now. She runs through through some sunlight, you know, that's coming through, and then
everything else is shadowed out except her.
Exactly. Yeah.
You went to like a forest scene, and they're like leaves and branches and everything. You should see it darkening, and you should see patterns flowing. Nothing. It's completely bright, shining red hair, and it's just like, it looks crazy.
What? I'm gonna chalk this up to, because I don't even remember part 1 ever having that issue.
It didn't.
So this is because I freaked out. I won't lie. I freaked to VGXL, guys. I lost my mind for like a solid 20 minutes. And then I calmed down, I rewatched them, I recalibrated, and I said, okay, it's not as bad as I thought. And I still feel this, they completely lost the character of the first game. This looks like Hellblade Senua's Saga. This looks like Unreal Engine, like recent demos they put out. Like, it just, all the character that made it has been stripped away in favor of making it look really, really pretty.
Yeah.
And it does look really, really pretty, but now it also doesn't look like Horizon anymore. It looks like something else.
I think I'm gonna.
And I hate it.
Oh, I'm sorry, but I don't know. I think I'm gonna chalk that up to it being maybe an early demo mistake. Like, they probably said, "Listen, we don't have much to show. You're one of the bangers. We need this to be out there." You know.
I hope so, because I hope it was really like they were constrained for time and they had to put something out there. Because the other big point of contention was the scale. Like, we obviously know how much I like scale now, but the first one just had these open vistas. It seemed like a very open, you know what I mean? Like, you were hunting things across the plains and shit like that. You're tracking them.
Yeah.
And in this demo, again, it's a demo, so maybe I didn't see it. It just seemed like things were much more narrow. Like, there was much more like climbing on top of things. Like, it seemed like paths were set for you.
Yeah, I'm gonna like honestly, I'm
Demo.
hoping that the game has little parts like that, that it's not a majority of the game. And like I'm looking at Horizon Zero Dawn footage right now of her. I sent it to games right now with a timestamp,
That's
and
what I
her
think.
running through the cave. You know, her like running through the cave and like the light shining through holes in the roof of the cave or whatever. The lighting could not be more perfect. Like it's doing exactly what we're saying is not happening.
Yeah.
These guys are like experts at what they do, and they created a game that already looked beautiful as their as one of their debuting a new title. You know, so
Right.
I
Yeah.
have faith that this part two is gonna look, especially now with all the bitching, part two is gonna look incredible. But it's like people don't really allow too much room for these days. People don't leave a lot of room for, oh well, this is early stuff. You know, like give us a chance. People fucking flip out the
It's
second.
true.
And it, like I said, it was very prepared. Like I said, I honestly don't think that it's gonna be, it's an open world game, and it's like a lot of times in the industry, you don't, it's hard, it's rare unless it's a spin-off or they change it, it's one of those subtitled games where, even though it's not called part two, so you never know, but it's like it's an open world game, and it would be weird if they changed it to a more of a smaller path type of game like God of War, because that's what it feels like you're saying, like it's getting a kind of like a more of a God of War feel.
That's actually really good, yes, because it started to feel like that, where not on rails, but it was like you're going this way,
Right.
and
It's
this is the
linear.
path yeah, like you see a big open plain, but it's not really a big open plain because there are cliffs
You
there that you
can't
can't
go
climb.
there.
There's a
Right.
path there that's blocked from so, and just in a weird way, kind of slimming it down. And again, I hope I'm completely wrong,
Right.
but that's just kind of the vibe I got when they showed. That would break my heart if that's what they did, though.
Yeah, I think it's a little early. I think it's too early to tell.
Yeah, we gotta wait for.
I think they're gonna do a great job. I mean, if they pull a Meat Boy, then I'm just done with the series. You know, maybe part three they'll come back to part one, but I think it's too early to tell.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, we don't have a release date yet. We haven't seen it was just some early gameplay, and you never know. I just really hope that like maybe they take some of that. It's not something hard to tweak. Like, okay, we made it a little too bright for that trailer. Let's chill out. Because it's true. It's like, and then there's, when you're looking at the same gameplay trailer where you see like the people standing and looking into the sky, like the sky's all red and swirling and shit. It's like it looks like there's a light on them constantly, and it's like this weird, like they're too bright, and it's like me right now. It's like I have all these lights around me, and you can tell like from the shininess of my forehead. Like if I'm running into some bushes, you shouldn't see the freaking shininess on my head. You know what I mean? Like,
actually, you know what?
They were on different layers of production, and they hadn't been meshed together yet, or their light sources weren't set. So they just said, "Listen, let's give them some basic light, so they're just well lit for whatever we put them through for this."
You know what I'm thinking about too? Now that I'm watching this footage, this feels more like I'm gonna stick to saying I think that this is maybe them being pressured to put a demo out, something decent that people could see, because it's been a while since we got anything. Because
Mhm.
I'm also looking at the fact that those lighting issues, a lot of it come from the fact that this game, a lot of it is in the tropics now. So it's like a whole different feel. It looks like they're trying to give you that color. It looks like they're trying to show us like the water is blue as fuck, the leaves are red, the fish are like, there's actually live animals, like marine life in this game now, and they all look bright and animated. It definitely doesn't feel as the tones don't feel as realistic as the first one.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think that might be just last gen. It was tough to pump out those full HDR colors and shit.
That's
I mean,
another
but
thing.
you
Man,
know what
maybe
I'm
it's
talking
that
about,
too.
right? How like
No, I get you.
it was a lot of mountain, a lot of green, a lot of snow.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
were able to knock that out the park. This is reminding me of shit like Far Cry. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like
Uh,
it's reminded me of like Xbox 360 Far Cry. Not shitting on the graphics that much, but lighting wise, like the lighting is the main focus of this whole demo.
Yeah, I mean it is on the West Coast now, so I can see the different climates.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get as much snow. I mean, they could obviously throw that in because there's snow around California if you know where to go. But But yeah,
Lighting is so big. Like this whole next gen for me is all about it's lighting and scope of the game. You know what I mean? Like that's what is gonna really
it's
advance. So
there's definitely
I think they're
the
gonna,
lighting is a big problem here for sure.
yeah.
yeah. Like I said, if you really like analyze it, it's like, because at first it was like, yo, what the hell? But then it's like, I don't know. It took us by the end of it. I was like, something's not right. Like, what the fuck is bothering me? And then there's more that we'll get into in a little bit. About that trailer, but
Yeah, it's really fucking annoying. But
yeah. But we can then there was Dying Light, and well, I mean we could say it now because actually this kind of ties into what we were talking about with Dying Light, that the trailer was in 30 frames per second, and I think that's a big deal, and that's going to be what we're going to be discussing in a little bit about frame rate. But I think that was a big deal, and I think that's one of the reasons why it's getting, you know, some hate as well. That at first I couldn't tell at first, and you know, like 30 frames can look good, like cinematics can look good, but it's like after a while, especially with a more trained eye, like you can kind of, you know, it wasn't stuttery, but there's that blurriness. You can tell that it's, and that's what brings it to not Far Cry, excuse me, Dying Light,
yeah.
where as soon as you look at that trailer, you can tell immediately 60 FPS, if not more, you know.
Yeah.
And it was smooth, it was buttery, oh man, that trailer, it was pretty fire. Like I loved what I saw. You saw that, right? Like,
yeah, that's another one I've been waiting on for a while.
Yeah, I'm super excited for the first one was probably my sleeper hit for that year. I don't even remember what else came out that year, but I know
Same.
that game, I remember clearly. I was hanging out down in Georgia with some family, my sister and stuff. And then I came back, so I started playing it down there. And then when I came back, I was still like hitting up. I think my brother had stayed down there, and I was still like, "Yo, you getting on right now? You got to get on, hop on." Like
right,
that game
that's
was
right, for
addictive.
multiplayer.
That game was so addictive.
Yeah, that game is very addictive, man. I had a blast with that. Like
Yeah,
Eddie would play that shit, and you know, you could join each other's games, and it'll tell you the person that you're playing with is ahead of the game than you. Do you want to proceed? And I'd be like, fuck it, I don't care, man. I'll just jump ahead, end up someplace I've never seen, and Eddie just throwing me like these high rated like weapons and shit, and I'm just chopping through fucking. Yeah, I'm just chopping through zombies and monsters super easy. Me and him are purposely going out at nighttime
hell yeah.
and like fucking looking for like chasing them. That game is awesome. That was a sleeper hit for me for sure.
Hell yeah. All the
Yeah.
Easter eggs, like that was just such a fully developed game. Like
Right.
had Easter eggs. It was the complete package. It was awesome. The co-op was revolutionary, I think. Because I don't even know if any other game was doing that at the time, where you could start from like the co-op persons. You know, you
Right.
could do your start point. Like before that,
Yeah, like you could just go anywhere in the story.
yeah, like, and it didn't matter. It didn't fuck up your game. You could still go back and have all your shit like absolutely okay, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, that game, yeah, because I didn't know what to expect. I remember just hearing the parkour and zombies, and I remember getting into it. It was just like crack. And then me and Pfeffer, we were just playing that with my boy, Mike. We would, do the PvP or whatever, and just insane. And one big thing that I'm really happy that people like CD Projekt Red could have taken a page out is that when they saw that the game was not going to be what they wanted, they said it's delayed. That's it, indefinitely. We're not giving you a date. We're not giving you a window. It's delayed. We'll let you know. And I think that was one of the best things that I'm like, that's what makes me even more excited. Not only did they could just make the first game with some modern graphics and it would be fire. So imagine all the new ideas and work and effort, and they put all that extra time in that. Like I said, there was some like legal things that was part of the delay, but when that happens, devs aren't caring about that, so they're just working in the background, adding more shit, fixing up bugs. Like, that's why they can give a definite date, like we're going to be at the end of the year, because I'm sure the game is in a releasable state right now. I'm sure they could release it, it'll be buggy, I'm sure, and there'll be issues, but they could release in a cyberpunk style probably right now. So I'm sure these next 6 months, exactly. So that's why I'm like, they're probably taking these next 6 months to bug squash and just chill, and then you got a nice dope holiday release for those PS5s and Xboxes and PC. Oh man, this is gonna look crazy on PC, and I'm here for it. I'm excited. And I don't know. I don't even know where I'm gonna buy. I might buy this shit twice. I don't know, cause like,
Talk about lighting. That
yeah,
game is gonna have fire lighting.
yes,
Because the first one, it's yeah. That kind of just clicked in my head. Now I'm like, yo, the lighting is gonna be wild.
and not for
Yeah.
nothing, Pfeffer's one of those that gets motion sickness from 30 FPS, so she can't play too many 30 FPS games. And when the second she looked at that, like she's like, all right, Horizon looks okay. And then when she looked at Dying Light, she doesn't even like first person shooters that much because of the motion. And she was like, I can't wait for that game. She's like, yo, she couldn't stop. Look, she was about to stream, and I was like, just watch like a minute of it. And she watched the whole 7-minute thing. I was like, she was like hooked because it grabs you, and it looks next gen. It looks amazing. You see all the different things they're adding to it. So yeah, like that's oh man, like I said, that's gonna bring us into our topic in a minute, but yeah.
The game is gonna be excellent. Part one did a great job of bringing people wanted to play that game. Like I got asked many times, "Hey, you want to jump on Dying Light tonight?" And this wasn't a game that was, as far as I remember, it wasn't pushed
right
the way a lot of other games are. And now the whole
Island clone. People are like, oh, this is just
right.
like Dead Island, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. That's like that's it's considered like a spiritual successor
Right.
to Dead Island, even though no connection has been made between the two because some of those aspects are so similar. But it reminded me of like that meets like a Mirror's Edge set in this world. The soundtrack was cool. Like I like the music. I like the loading screens where you just kind of hear the guy talking. And
right.
then you're in a safe house and you hear all the madness going on below you. Like everything about that game, it makes you nervous, but it keeps you reeled in. And then like the human aspect to this next one looks like it's a lot of crazy. It reminds me a lot of Cyberpunk in the sense of it looks like it's a much broader universe of connections you're making to people who are like in different ranks throughout the cities and stuff.
And isn't it like choice based too? Like choices are gonna matter?
Yeah. There's a huge decision based fact. Like now it's a decision based. You have a lot of decision based parts where like you can.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I just say it looks like more community now. Like it looks like they've naturally, like sort of maybe what Cyberpunk should have started. Like naturally start. You're off in the desert, very few people around. You have one or two kind of groups you hang out with, and then they built the city once they had the foundations of the game.
Right.
This is like you didn't really talk to. You had a few key people you spoke to in the first one, but smaller.
Yeah.
Right.
It seems like you have towns and shit.
Yeah, that's gonna be so crack. I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm dying for that.
Yeah.
And then there was the Far Cry 6 gameplay. It looked decent. Like I haven't played a Far Cry really much. I play a little bit of the like maybe part 3. So I mean, from what I saw, it looked dope. But again, I don't know. This is coming from a person who's not really experienced with the series. So did y'all play Far Cry at all? I don't even know.
I wasn't big on the Far Cry series at all, man. I always knew they were good games. A lot of people I knew played them, but I was not doing it. Like I played a lot of other random shit.
Yeah.
Far Cry I never got into.
I liked them. They were fun. The third one is a classic. I think that was definitely the greatest one.
Yeah, that's what I hear a lot when I read about it.
Yeah, and then the fourth one was cool, but it was mainly a rehash of 3. 5 was interesting, but it was just a rehash of 4. And then you had the weird one. I forget the one where you like in the American Outback or whatever.
I think that was like a standalone DLC of 5, if I'm not mistaken, with the chicks.
Yeah, but it was a pretty big.
Yeah,
it was a pretty big like kind of addition.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like it was its own game, but I think it was in the same world or something of 5. Like it was just an extension.
Yeah, I don't know. That was okay. And then the spin-offs were fun, like Blood Dragon. It was like an 80s themed one. That one was like laser dinosaurs. That shit
I did
was
like
dope.
the beginning when you're in the helicopter shooting in the beginning.
Yeah.
That's the only part I did.
They've all been fun. They're very, it's basically they're like the Assassin's Creed of like that company. I forget who makes fucking Far Cry.
Ubisoft. Yeah.
Oh, that's why. Yeah, I was gonna say it's not the Assassin's Creed of anything. It is Ubisoft.
It's just Ubisoft the game. Whatever first person shooter edition. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's fun. The weapons are cool. The animations are cool.
I think like the badass female looks pretty dope. I'm digging that. I'm digging the crazy like rocket pack things that they showed, and now you got a freaking alligator that's wearing a shirt. and
Yeah.
fucking puppy, you know, that's legs don't work, so it's on like the wheels on the back. So I thought that was, you know, it was cute. They put on the Grogu Baby Yoda, huh?
Little Kojima-ish.
Right. Oh, that's
toy.
true. That's true. From Metal Gear Solid 5, you had the pup that turned into a dog. And yeah, I think that's honestly like little corny things like that. I know, like, you know, like whatever, but the whole pet the dog or pet the animal in games, I dig that. I gotta admit, I love when that option's there. When the option's there, I could pet the dog. Like in Monster Hunter, you had like in World, you had the little you know, you had the Poogie or whatever, the little pig. You go carry like a baby around, and other games that let you pet the animals. I don't know. I dig that. You know, that's actually, you'll score points with me for that. And I'm normally not big on little corny additions like that in games, but you know, or like that you see a lot of people on like streamer Twitter talk about. But that's the one little corny thing I'll agree with. Let me pet the dog. Fuck.
Nothing wrong with that. That's fair.
I mean, that's it. I mean, that was the biggest things from this week. Any other topics really quick? We got a couple minutes.
Oh, Final Fantasy VII Intergrade. They dropped some video gameplay of that, and that looks actually pretty fun. I won't lie.
I can't
Looks
wait
like
for
a
that
fun
update.
little kind of morsel, I guess, to kind of hold you over until the second part drops.
At first, I was a little like meh about it, but I gotta say the whole Yuffie storyline in the original game is optional anyway. So the fact that they're taking that optional side of the story and letting you just play it as a DLC, I mean, is a little bit kind of, it's corny because they're making you pay for it, but
Yeah.
you know, I'll take it, which means that the sequel, you know, the sequel or whatever, you know, 7 part 2 or whatever we're gonna call it is I mean, that means that they're probably not gonna have it there. I wonder if they're gonna tie that in a little bit better, but it seems like this is that side story of, you know,
I
because
hope they do tie this into the second part somehow.
I mean,
feel
she's
like
a character that stays to the end, so I
that's
mean,
what I'm saying, yeah.
like she should be around. I'm just wondering, like, are they gonna completely just take that out? Like, let's say you don't get that DLC, is that it? Like, how do you get Yuffie later? Are they gonna still include that part of the story? Because it was a completely optional thing. The same thing with this guy with the 2 guns, Vincent.
So wait, so if you didn't complete in the original, she wouldn't join your party? Or
Exactly. Like, you didn't have to go. She's from Wutai, and you didn't if you didn't go to Wutai, or if you didn't complete, I think you end up there, but you don't have to get her. Like, she's like, her little storyline in the sequel is I mean, in the original, excuse me, is optional. Like, she's an optional character that you can go after as like kind of like a big side quest. Like, she's like a thief and she takes something from you, but you don't have to. I think you always bump into her, but I don't think you have to bring her into your, like, it's optional to do her quest to bring her into your party.
Yeah, I see.
That's what I think, because that happens on this too, when Cloud is all in his head and he's all fucked up. I think that's when you bump into her. If I'm not mistaken, it's been a long time, so, but I think that's how you meet her. But wait, there was,
I just know it looked cool. The combat looked really dope. It looks like they kind of updated it even more. And you get some dope summons, it looks like. I'm all about this.
I don't know if you guys heard that they're gonna do like a little award show. They always give out like awards, like, but you never really hear about it.
Yeah, E3, no, yeah.
And yeah, so at E3 on the final day, it's just awards for who put up the best show, I guess. I think that's what it is. Like what was the best presentation, stuff like that. And I'm like, they're making an award, like an official now award show. Who you think they're coming after?
Yeah.
I'm like, it feels like
fucking award show.
I feel like they're coming for Keely's neck. They're like, oh, he's because he's taking over. Like, if E3 didn't happen this year, it wouldn't have fucking mattered. E3 knew they had to come back because Keely has Summer Games Fest, and so it's like he got the VGAs and he got Summer Game Fest. So it's like now E3 comes back and now they have their own award show. Now granted, it's not the same. It's not a like Game of the Year type of thing or whatever, but it just feels like they're dabbling in the whole like award thing or whatever. And I'm like, I feel like y'all see what he's doing and you're trying to get some of that action. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just found that kind of humorous. Like, like
it is funny, but I'm not even mad because I like the competition. I used to like E3. They were fun, and the more venues and avenues to show this shit, the better, in my opinion.
Exactly. So it's like exactly like I'm not mad at it. I was just like they look at that. They see Keely killing it right now with all these fucking things that he's doing. And yeah, now y'all want to do some official award show at the end, which really doesn't matter. What, the best bullshit CGI only trailer? Like, what the fuck are y'all really giving awards out for?
I'm gonna stick around for that shit. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're gonna like broadcast it now, like it's an official thing on June 15th.
Stage presence.
Right?
Hey, go Reggie, you won again.
Right?
Fuck.
Oh man, it's stupid. Like E3, I'm happy it's happening just for nostalgia and just like I just want to hear game news. But did we really need E3? No, we didn't need that shit. And Sony has like proved that.
Yeah, we definitely didn't need them. E3 got complacent. You know what I'm saying? They didn't really move quick enough with the times. I feel they got caught up hiring a bunch of new blood for their fucking social media accounts and posting a bunch of stupid shit that has nothing to do with video games half the time.
Exactly.
And if it's not that, it's stupid. It's like they're like trying to keep up with the whole social media craze where you have to post like they're the fucking shade room. Like every 5 minutes, there's got to be a new piece of info or a new piece of game drama, and it's like, bro, you guys are getting beat out by people on Twitter.
Like, it's true. I feel like it's funny that you said, because I feel like in 2019, that was the last E3, and it was probably one of the worst E3s we ever had. And the reason for that is because the Twitter leakers were saying everything in May. Everything leaked in May. We hardly got any leaks this month. Like, if you noticed, it hasn't been as crazy. I don't know if you remember 2019, since we didn't have nothing last year. So
pretty much purposeful leaks, rather.
That's what I thought. I'm like, I can't tell. It's like, and if it was like, if it was purposeful, I don't think the people at E3 had anything to do with it. I think the game companies were like, we don't fucking need ya. And I think who knows if they were making a statement? Who knows? But it was, like I said, almost all the biggest news came out in May, and then they showed the shit that we knew about at E3. So it was like, it was very like, you know, Sony wasn't there for the first time, and you know, it just wasn't that great of an E3. And I just have a feeling there was something going on there. I wouldn't be surprised, rather, you know, if something was going on, or maybe they got careless with it, and you know, they didn't lock it down that hard that time, because it didn't happen nearly as bad this year. Like, it was like that. I was like, what's the point of E3 if we're gonna find out everything in May anyway? Like, mad news came out in May.
So I think it was probably also, who knows, maybe it was also just like a little bit of experimentation from the companies, just trying to see like, hey, what if we just let this shit out ourselves and see what happens. But you know what? I think there's something to be said about a concentrated burst of info to get people fucking hype, get people interested, give them a central location to be drawn into to disseminate the info. Because finding, you know, unless you're super fucking like clicked in or locked in, you're not going to get like the tweets from 8 different sources.
Exactly.
Leaks, you know what I mean? So in my opinion, at least, for like the layman, for someone who's not super hardcore, I like all the cons and shit because it gives me a place to look.
Exactly, and that's why I was so disappointed, because it was just like, what are y'all doing? But
yeah, these were whack.
Anyway, so we can move on to the topic. So like we were saying before, so with Horizon, when that trailer dropped, besides the whole Aloy looking like she ate a few extra cheeseburgers, which I ain't mad at, but whatever. Everyone seems like
good, man. Life is good. She saved everybody.
Exactly. She was just living it up, drinking that freaking
that jungle juice, baby.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Well, fuck, she found a few. They're in the Caribbean now, and like the West.
No, they're on the West Coast.
They're not
yeah,
the Caribbean. They're West Coast. They're like in San Francisco, right?
Right.
Yeah, some shit like that.
She found a little avocado farm.
I was a fatty, man. Lots of good fat.
Yeah, she found some good shit.
That's what I'm saying. Leave her alone. She be alright.
She's still like I love that fucking character.
Yeah, like.
Yeah, so, I thought for.
How do you pronounce her name?
Aloy.
How about you, Games?
I mean, they say it in the game, so yeah. I before I knew it was Aloy.
In the games.
They do?
Yeah, a few different characters. They say a different way.
Oh, I don't remember then. But yeah, I was just I knew because I kept hearing how bad it was. Like, oh, Aloy, like that just. But I think when I first saw them, I think I was saying like Alloy.
Alloy.
Yeah, they never call her Alloy, but they say Aloy, like sort of different. It's weird.
Aloy? I don't know.
Yeah, it's just it's weird. I forget one of the characters, but he always says it, and it's like, fuck, which one is it?
I'm happy State of Play like showed 2 major games we were all pretty excited about.
Yeah. Wait, what other game?
Well, Dying Light and Horizon.
No, the Dying Light was its own thing.
Oh, that was his own thing? Wasn't that State of Play?
No, it wasn't.
It came out the same week, right?
The same day. Same day, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's why I thought that. Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was like later on.
I was like, yes, they're killing it.
Yeah, exactly.
It makes sense though because State of Play is just strictly Sony.
Right. And this Techland is a third party. Yeah.
I didn't put that together at all.
That's all good. It's true though. It's like everything came out this week. You would think this was like a little mini E3 we had this week. But yeah, so the other thing that people were crying and bugging out and the Xbox and Sony ponies were crying over was the fact that it was in 30 frames. And that I noticed it. Like I said earlier, like I noticed that it was a lower frame rate. It's not that smoothness. And if you again, at first glance it was like, "Oh, this looks nice." And then I was like, "Wait a minute." Like when this camera started turning, because that's where you notice it the most. Once that camera started turning and the background was blurred, I was like, they're showing this in 30, but I was like, all right. I saw a lot of people praising it, and I thought, okay, maybe it flew under the red. Nope, no. Everyone was just crying, making fun. They were making fun of the the fact that it was PS5 can't do it and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And just to clarify, I'm like, first of all, we all know it's gonna have a performance mode. That's number one. It's gonna have a performance mode. Number two, if there's no ray tracing, then that performance really doesn't matter. And if anything, I don't know if there's ray tracing or not in this game, which it doesn't look like there's gonna be. So
it doesn't look like it.
Exactly, because that lighting is very weird and static. So it's like, it's gonna be fire. And if it's 1440p or 1080p upscaled, it's still gonna look fire. Plus, it's a PS4 game. So even though according to what I've read, I didn't confirm this myself, is that it was built from the ground up for each console. So they have the PS4 version was built specifically for that, and then you had the PS5, which it was built. They built it for the PS5 and then downscaled it to the PS4 to run on the PS4, and that's apparently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's dope.
Yeah, because I was gonna ask how you feel about that. Like, what if it was a PS4 game? Wouldn't you feel a way about that? Like, what the fuck, man? Like,
I mean, it's gonna run on standard.
You know what I'm saying? No, that's fine. But
I see. Like, it was just
to like put a game and build it for the next gen, and then downscale it for the previous gen, rather than building something for the tail end of the last gen and forcing it on PS5 players and being like, this shit is a PlayStation 4 game.
Exactly.
Like, that shit just feels weird to me,
Exactly. When I heard it was gonna be on PS4, it was a little like, really? Like, everyone thought Ghost of Tsushima was gonna be the last game. Like, that's it. No more. Horizon's gonna be PS5, which I don't understand why they didn't just do that shit. But whatever. They're making Horizon probably one of the final games, because I think if Ragnarok, God of War is on PS5, on PS4. I think that's gonna cause hell, and people are gonna be angry about that shit.
That's ridiculous. Like, it's over, bro. Like, PS4 is done. That's last gen. A lot of people still have it, and it's hard to get a hold of. I get it. Now is the time to produce more and make sure that this shit isn't a shitstorm like it was last year, and make sure that people are driven to getting the new system for this new game. Like, you can't keep releasing these ill titles, and you're limiting the fucking specs.
Exactly. And then you're getting things like that. I like I said, I think if anything, whatever, it probably was running in 4K, and I think they purposely did it at 30 frames to give it that like cinematic feel. I guess, I think they were going more for the visual, not realizing there's a lot of angry and vocal nerds that are not gonna want to see that shit running in 4K 30. They want to, we're in next gen. I agree. I really think it was a big mistake. Like, what about you, Adokan?
Yeah, sorry, I'm fucking raring to go over here, man. Because it's not even about the fucking nerds. Not for nothing. You saw how tight I got. So, my faithful viewers, you did not see your dear Advocate, but I was fucking furious. I was pretty upset. And after I chilled out and I rewatched it and I put it side to side with the old one, I realized that a lot of the anger was legit because it was 30 FPS. It was hurting my eyes. Now, I have a ultra wide monitor, right? So maybe that even adds to it because now it's even blurrier along the sides because I basically have, two panels that are now additional processing and, they're adding to it. So maybe that even added to it. But I'm like, it legit hurt to watch that clip. Like I was watching it and just like I kept looking away and like it just did not look good and I couldn't figure out why. And that was why. Because then I went straight to the Dying Light 2 video. Sex. Just
Exactly.
pure sex. Like I could watch it. My
That
eye,
looks like it's running at 120.
Right?
yeah, like I wasn't squinting. I wasn't like it just like
Mm,
watching Horizon literally made me like, what the fuck is up? Like, something's off here. Like I couldn't place it, but that's what it is. It's fucking 30 FPS. It's terrible.
And that's the
yeah.
thing. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, it comes back to what we've always discussed on this podcast before, and I just feel like there's a certain level of laziness, man. Like, you gotta stop it, man. Like, it's a mistake to do that kind of shit. You know what kind of at this point, as a game creator, a content creator of any sort, if you're saying stupid shit or allowing stupid shit to be leaked or come out, and you don't think that people are gonna fucking get on you, you're in the wrong business, man. Like,
Yep.
you're not understanding. This is already we know this is how people are. Like, this is just how it is. If you don't want to be the team that did Cyberpunk for the last 6 months, I
Yeah.
suggest you fucking get it together, man. Like, it may not sound like a huge deal. Like, calm down, dude. It's gonna be 60 frames when the game comes out. It's about presentation.
Exactly.
You understand that? Like when you go to buy a house, what's the first thing you look for? How is the house presented? If the house is presented like shit, there's toys everywhere, you can't see yourself in the house, you can't picture your family there. You don't
No.
want to. You're gonna go on to the next dude. The house may not even have everything you wanted, but the way it's presented makes it feel so much bigger, so much cozier, so much like it makes you want to make a decision right there on where you're gonna go. And I feel like
Exactly.
that about games. Like games, when you fucking present something to me, you make a big deal of it. Like state of play is state of play. I want to see top notch. Give me 5 minutes top notch. Don't give me 30 half ass minutes. Don't give me 10
Exactly. Yeah.
half ass minutes. Give me 3 minutes of cinematics meets gameplay. I'll take it. And then say gameplay trailer arriving soon, just to keep us on our toes. People cry a lot less about that. People are always gonna find a reason to cry, but they'll cry less about that. Don't present this fucking game where Aloy looks. It looks. You know what it legit looks like in that trailer where you watch the gameplay trailer. It looks like the guys who made this demo had the entire fucking the software that they used to create this, and they forgot to unclick something.
Right?
That's what that shit reminds
Oh
me of.
no.
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
like they had her highlighted for like a certain
Yeah,
tester to make sure like, and they just were working like 80 hours, 90 hours that week, and they just fucking forgot. Like, dude, they were so exhausted. Nobody noticed that shit.
that's
Like,
exactly what it was. They left global
yeah,
illumination turned on. They're like, fuck.
that kind of shit happens. Like it happened infamously on Halloween 4. The Halloween 4 movie, there's a reason why Michael Myers has two different masks. It's because they couldn't get a hold of the original and they had to go get a box of new ones and to hand paint them. And they were so exhausted on set that there is one set where they grabbed a new mask and forgot these shits are pink with blonde hair. They're not white with brown hair, but they just let him do the scene anyway. And the
Yeah.
movie came out like that. Like you go watch that movie and it's there. And it's weird. It's like how the fuck do you let something like this happen? It makes no sense.
It's
But
like million
again, when
dollar
people are
pastry. They're like, nah.
it comes down to that crunch bullshit. Like I'm not saying that that's what happened here, but I just feel like this is just stupid shit. Like this is shit that shouldn't be happening. It's the year 2021. You released a fucking amazing game 4 years ago. There
Yeah.
is no reason why we should be talking about why this game looks like it's on a PS4. I need to see a noticeable change, and I see a game that looks less fucking impressive than the first one. That's what
That's
I
my
see right
thing.
now.
Like, cause now this is indicative of like, I don't know, but like you said, state of play. You're looking for some dope shit. You're expecting to be blown away. Basically,
Yeah.
I'm here and I'm believing that you're telling me this is what the game is going to be, right? You're trying to get me hyped. This is what to
Mhm.
look forward to. And you're giving me a 30 FPS action game? Like this isn't
Yeah.
a storytelling game. This is an action game. I'm jumping, I'm throwing bows, I got it, I got to be accurate. in 30 FPS in the new gen.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like you can't be selling me a 30 FPS action game in 2021. Like I'm not going for that shit, dog. Not a
That's what I'm
chance.
Yeah.
saying. Like again, I I'll admit, I played Monster Hunter Rise, on Switch, which ran at 30 FPS, right? And I accepted that because I understand the hardware. It is essentially a handheld, and it's not that powerful. And and not for nothing, Capcom did their thing because while the game is low res and low FPS, the colors in that game, I feel like they knew what they were making for this low end hardware and said, you know what, since we can't get that graphical fidelity out, it's very colorful. Like the main town you're in, you have like it's just Japanese inspired, and it looks amazing for a Switch game. And when you put it on the dock and it upscales a little bit more, it looks a little bit better and or whatnot, but it is running at that 30 FPS. And like I said, it does suck. Like, I got through it, and yeah, you get used to it after you've been playing for hours. It's an addicting game, so you can look past it a little bit. But
Wow.
but it's like at the end of the day, it's like that's the Switch. I know what I'm getting into. Whereas like this is next gen. I shouldn't be seeing fucking. You're right. I don't give a fuck if they want to turn out to do two demos. Say, okay, look, this is with everything on ray tracing. It is this is fidelity mode like the way Spider-Man had. And here now you have, and they should be aiming for what they did with Miles Morales, because I played Miles Morales only on performance because that 60 FPS did a lot. And yes, the fidelity mode did look better, but once you started moving, it felt choppy, and I hated the feel. But then after I beat the game, they released the fidelity plus performance, which gives you, I think it downscales it's like 1440p, and then you get some ray tracing.
The ray tracing, yeah.
And it looks fire. Like I was watching Pfeffer play doing her first playthrough of Miles Morales, and it looked amazing. It looked amazing because it was giving all the frames. Plus, you got that nice lighting and the sun and the reflections were there. And I was like, they can do this. It does feel like laziness. It feels like you guys can do this, or you should have showed us both things. Like, okay, that's fidelity. Now look, some of the lines can be a little different, but this is performance, and really like showed us what it's gonna look like. Because come on, it would have looked fire on whatever performance. But I'm sure it's gonna look amazing. I mean, PS4 games that get a PS4 that get a 60 FPS patch look amazing. Like look, it feels better to look at and play it. So my bad. Go on.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dave.
Well, I just noticed, and I just remembered, this is Guerrilla Games. These are the Killzone motherfuckers.
Right.
This is just, I used to hate the Killzone videos too, because they represented nothing of what the game was like.
I mean, that was a big controversy back in 2012.
Killzone, I remember when that was for PS4, right?
Right.
The demo for PS4, or was it 3?
I think it was 3 and 4 when they released.
Because when they were showing the demo for the Killzone that came out on PS4, it looked like a PS5 game. Like it looked like it wasn't gonna run. Like when it finally came out, it was downgraded a lot.
Yeah, everybody knew that wasn't real. Like I remember that being the thing. Like when you see the videos, it's like that dark dull blue, and they're like driving the ships through the sky and shooting at shit.
Right.
Yeah, that looked fucking wild. Like that was something I never saw before. I was like, this is gonna be coming out. There's no fucking way. And I mean, like companies like I'm saying, yeah, and companies like Ubisoft, infamous for doing that shit. Like you look at the Division, Rainbow Six games. These games
Watch Dogs, that was a big one. Yep.
Completely shit, compared to what they show you at these cons, but. I did find a video of them upscaling the same footage. Like they found there's footage of Forbidden West scaled to 60 frames per second.
Oh, there is?
I think it came out after. I think it came out after. I'm not sure if it's even official. The lighting looks better.
Yeah, probably a little less. Is it probably a little less noticeable because it's smoother now?
Yeah, like now I can see the shadows kind of going over her head and everything. There's a video that if you skip to a certain mark, it shows like that. It says simulated 60 FPS. So that's like somebody took the footage and upscaled it themselves. I'm guessing.
And it looks so much better though. It feels better to watch.
I got
it looks good.
Now, hold on a moment.
Yeah, just type in Horizon Forbidden West 4K 60 FPS, and it
Yeah.
it, it feels so much better to watch.
It looks fucking. Had they shown this, it'd be a whole different week for them.
Yup.
Let's see. 60 right now.
Hold
And
on,
like just the 60, you could tell it's definitely like using AI to smooth it out, but already this looks leaps and bounds better than the fucking 30 FPS shit.
See, that's what people don't realize. People are like, oh, what's the difference, blah blah blah, and I'm like,
The difference
yeah,
is massive, my guy.
this I want this game. Like this is like makes me feel like, yo.
I still think they're putting
just,
you in narrow corridors, which I don't like, but
you know what I think it's doing, dude?
looks a lot better, like way fucking better.
Yeah.
You just reminded me what this feels like exactly. This reminds me, like, I'm hoping this is not the whole game. I'm hoping maybe there are just certain parts where it doesn't require you to stay in these areas because this is enemy territory that you won't revisit. There were some parts like that in the original game where there's not a lot to explore because
Right.
it's not your territory, so you could run around limitly, you know, like it limits you.
Oh,
But
that's true. Like when you went to like one of them giant bases, like there was like you'd be
yeah,
like stuck in like one little area. That's
yeah, this
true.
seems to be doing that, but in a more outdoors, and it's also something that I'm noticing is that it feels more like Uncharted. Like in the Uncharted series, like when you hit the jungles and you're like sneaking up on enemies, how everything is very zigzaggy upwards.
Oh
Like it's
yeah.
very. That's what it kind of reminds me of in some parts of this trailer. But
Does that feel
um,
natural to you?
huh?
Does that feel natural to you? Because I think maybe that's what it just doesn't feel natural. Like it
I
doesn't
think yeah. I
doesn't
mean,
feel like
for
a good design. I don't know.
yeah, like I think that I'm hoping this is just a small part and they chose it because there's so much foliage, there's so much lighting, there's so much sand.
Right.
The enemies you're fighting look a certain way where it could show off like a lot of the detail of the characters and what they've been hard at work at. So I'm
Right.
hoping that this is maybe like a small portion of the game, but I can't imagine them making this game any smaller than part 1. And part 1 was like a perfectly I love part 1 like in
Oh,
terms of
yeah.
content, you know, like side
Yeah.
missions. You got your money's worth. That's a game that when I picked it up, I didn't have one fucking complaint. There was no stupid ass bugs. There was none of the stupid shit people complain about.
Yeah.
It was like I threw it on, shit got installed, and I was in it. I put in a good 5 hours night one. I was hooked. You know what I'm saying? So if that game could give me that feeling, part two could do that for me, then I'm all for it. I'm excited about the stuff like I mean, Death Stranding Easter eggs. Being that now we're not gonna get a Kojima game on PlayStation more than likely. It's gonna be cool to see them kind of show homage to the Death Stranding guys because there were Death Stranding Easter eggs in the first Horizon.
Yeah.
Yeah, they use the same engine. Well,
Yeah,
like
Guerrilla Games, the Decima engine.
yeah, it's gone through a few iterations, and now they're using an even more upgraded one for this one. I
Yeah,
would
it
say it
keeps
looks
getting upgraded.
it still sucks, but it does look way better in 60 FPS. The lighting is still terrible though.
Yeah, that's one thing. Fucking Death Stranding. That is a fucking gorgeous game, son.
Yeah, and you look at that, like look at the lighting in that. That's how why it's even more upsetting because like you can do the lighting right because Death Stranding was gorgeous. Like
Yeah, like you know what was cool about Death Stranding? That Death Stranding took the Decima engine. They got rid of like a lot of the color of like the Horizon games. There wasn't much color. Everything seemed a little more dulled out, but it looked realistic. Like I felt like I was walking through fucking Ireland or Iceland or some shit. Like
yeah,
that landscape felt immense and it felt like just the fact that you could be walking through a part of the game and you'll see a song come on, it'll tell you who the band is and the whole camera angle changes and it turns into like him just walking down mountains with rivers and shit. Like,
Hmm.
how the fuck are you gonna sit here and tell me that game sucks?
don't
That
be,
game is a vibe, baby.
don't be so serious.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
man.
yo, the way the music direction was definitely a big part of like that gave that game a crazy vibe because
Yeah,
man, like when those songs would come on and you feel it in your freaking chest, like
you.
fuck.
I'm well, not to stay on Kojima for too long, but I'm gonna say this and I'm putting it out into the air. I need to have Kojima and Trent Reznor work on something together. If you allow Trent Reznor and whoever he decides to bring with him to score a Hideo Kojima game, there will be nothing better than that. Nothing. I guarantee you there will be nothing before or nothing after that is more fire than that. I'm saying it on the record.
If I could get Kojima to direct and produce one of Trent Reznor's stage shows, I'd be pretty fucking happy.
That would be incredible. And he's such a mind, bro. They'll respect what he does. You know, Trent Reznor did music for Quake back in the day.
Oh, that's right.
Like,
That's right.
come on, he's been open to this idea. This is like 30 years ago.
That's what
So
I'm saying.
him seeing Kojima and what he's about, he'll definitely fuck with that.
Bro, the playlist would be insane. I already got a track list right now.
I think that needs to happen more often. I think more bands need to start scoring video games. Like when Health scored Max Payne 3, that to me was fucking
I mean, Marilyn Manson scored Area 51 on the Xbox. And it was actually all right. It was he also did a voiceover for the main villain, but he did all the music and it was very vibey. I gotta admit, like, it's been a while since I played it, so maybe it's not as good as I remember. But at the time, I remember like really digging the music, and then when I watched like the making of it, I found out Marilyn Manson did all the music for it. I was like, oh shit! So it's not impossible, like give some. I think it'll happen because games are just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and I think after a while it's gonna be part of, like, I can see that being part of some of superstars, like whole lineup. You know how, like, a singer turned actor, turned video game, like, I mean, look at freaking Vin Diesel.
Nothing stronger than
because he did what's those movies, Chronicles of Riddick, and the one of the something Bay or whatever was supposedly like a really good game, and he did a lot of the voicing acting in that, and so like I could see some dope shit happening like that, just
it was a good game.
yeah, so it really depends on who's doing it. I could see Kojima doing something like that, get the dope music, get whatever, and then have a game tie-in or whatever.
Yeah, I would love to see that, man. Honestly, I think that their vibes complement each other very much. That band Health, I would have never thought Rockstar would have chosen them to score the entire Max Payne. There's a lot of Brazilian influence in that soundtrack because like a lot of tribal sounding like war music in some parts of the game, because that's where the whole game is. It's in Sao Paulo.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that band Health was a perfect choice. And it's funny because that band is like very much influenced by Nine Inch Nails, like that industrial rock, electronic shit. And they just released a song. We talked about it a few weeks ago, here, like before we started the podcast, one of the episodes. But the Health and Nine Inch Nails released a song together, and it sounds. If that's what the whole album is gonna be like, it's gonna be a treat because it sounds so good. Like no Nine Inch Nails fans deny that that's a great song.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to some new Nine Inch Nails stuff. It's been a while.
Yeah.
I could use some gritty, fucking grimy industrial shit.
Yeah, for real.
But yeah, just to wrap it up, here, I mean, do you think it's even possible? I mean, I don't care. Like, in your opinion, do you think developers can overcome this whole 30-60? Do you think they're just doing it just for the show, or like, or is this, is hardware not powerful enough? I mean, I don't know. In your opinion,
I'll say this: for their sake, I hope they can bump it up to 60, because I think you are gonna have a real fucking problem if you just sold a bunch of people a brand new console, and then you're like, oh, but we could still only do 30 frames per second. Like, the fuck? Like, what?
Yeah.
I think $700 or maybe even $1,000 on a brand new console, and I'm still getting 30 FPS. Like,
and you know what? Now that you say that, it's just like, what kills me is, like, they're afraid. It feels like they're afraid to release games from current gen, just max quality. Like, nobody got that on PS4. The Pro kind of pushed the res up a bit, but a lot of people didn't get that 60, that 4K or even 1440p, with max resolution, max sampling, super sampling, and with the frame rate. Like, give us that. Like, just have the games run with everything. Fuck ray tracing. I feel like ray tracing should come later. Like if they can do it like they did with Spider-Man, that yeah, you can do both, do it. But if you can't,
Tracing is I love ray tracing. I think ray tracing truly is the future because lighting is a massive deal when it comes to games. But I think it's a PC only thing right now.
exactly.
It is. PC is always ahead, and it just has to be. You need dedicated hardware for fucking ray tracing.
Yeah, there's a lot of sacrifices and corners cut in making a console that just can't whip that power out.
Exactly.
You know?
And it's been coming up. And I just saw a news article while I was looking for the other one. And it's what is coming up though is AMD's answer to DLSS, which is like, hopefully is gonna help with that. But in the meantime, I feel like they should have omitted the whole like forget about ray tracing, or if you're gonna demo shit, demo it with at 60 FPS, show the performance mode only, and then say or the option for ray tracing, and see what happens, and then later on see if you can get it to do that. Because I think once that DLSS comes out, then we're gonna get 4K ray tracing and the higher frame rates. 120, I doubt it. Like not 4K 120, but
no. I think eventually it'll bump up. You'll on the PS5 you get the 4K 60. I think it's still gonna be, I think it's maybe a few sacrifices to get there. But again, if you show me an action game, give me 60 frames. If you show me Madden 2K, don't give me 2K or Madden in 30 frames. You would never do that. So why
exactly
30 FPS? It's crazy.
Honestly, I mean, I'm starting to think too. I'm not like a conspiracy nut, or I don't like thinking or delving too deep into stupid shit. But in a way, the way the game has changed in terms of the hype around releases and the leaks and Twitter and the how vocal the fan bases can be and how fucking they can destroy your title. You know what I'm saying?
yep.
I think it's risky to do this, but it kind of feels like sometimes some of these companies do this shit on purpose.
Right.
Just so that when the game comes up or like 2 months before the game, it's like, yo, did you hear that shit? Did you see that new Horizon shit showing the online play and the new truck she got and the whole like they have ways of like making shit look whack and then
Yeah.
giving the impression that over the next 3 4 months they've been going crazy crunching and fixing this for you, and then when the game comes out and it's like 9.5 on IGN and Polygon and all these places, it's like, oh, I feel like in some way it works. Like I said, it's risky to do because you don't know in this day and age. A lot of people are just stupid and just fucking stick to their word out of spite for no fucking reason.
Yeah.
But I think they have a lot of faith in what they do too. I think that that's a tactic. Like the way shit is getting now, I think that's a tactic.
It's funny that you said it because I was kind of holding back because I was like, I didn't want to dabble in like in a conspiracy either. But it's funny because I was thinking like, what if there is no release date? So that's something like can't believe. A lot of people could not believe there's no release date. Are you kidding me? You said 2021. It's June. Why it's the end of May when it released. Why don't we have a release date? But E3 is still around, or Summer Games Fest, which is it's just people coming together. So there's a chance that when they finally show because we only saw gameplay, we didn't see the scope of the game yet, like you said, Addercat. Like that could be a reason why they didn't show the scope yet, because they could be holding back, like no 60 FPS, because again, like you said, maybe when they show that scope, when they show all that stuff, it's like, boom, here you go. Like this is we know you were on the fence,
exactly,
and it's possible. Like I could see that because they show a lot of their games in 30 FPS, but then it has a performance mode. So I don't know. Like it's hard to tell if it's like is it just Suits wanting
that when I'm glad you mentioned Suits because look at this headline, right? This is from April of this year. Cyberpunk 2077 sales figures prove the hype was bigger than bugs. Cyberpunk's 2077 jaw-dropping sales figures may reveal an uncomfortable truth about how much the game's bugs actually hurt it.
Yeah.
So it's like as if people just needed to. It's like a part of people just needs to know what the hype is about, or be able to be a part of something like that. You know what I mean? Because it was a huge deal. You know what I mean? Like people hated the fact that the game launched the way it did. I feel like at some level there might be a suit or two involved saying, maybe we could spin this. The game's going to be excellent when it comes out. We launched Horizon Zero Dawn, the first one, without the same type of hype we got now. We didn't even have a game before this. It was our first time revealing this brand new IP, and that was successful. So now we have a reputation. Why not just kind of play with this a little bit? Show them that bullshit, and in a month and a half, 2 months, let's come out and blow them away with a new fucking gameplay trailer. The sales are gonna skyrocket. It worked for those guys over at fucking Project Red. Like, why not try it, man? You know what I'm saying?
It's true. I mean, if you know it's gonna be a fire game, it's possible. You can
If you
I
have
can
enough
see that.
confidence in your product, I'm just talking about the climate of the way that things are now. In the 90s, I don't feel like this would ever be something. Early 2000s, nobody's doing this shit. But we're in a day and age of beta and alpha, lasting fucking forever. And it's like people take their sweet time. If these people were on deadlines, you would not see half these games launch. And if they did, they would launch very bad. I'm talking about games like fucking Warzone and H1Z1 and fucking 7 days. What is it?
Yeah, 7 Days to Die. Yeah.
7 days to die. Games like that. If there was a strict rule in place where it's like, yo, we can't just keep like, what the fuck is going on? Like, finish this, man. We got money to make here. You know what I'm saying? And then the shit actually came out. You would see that people fold under the pressure or they don't. I think you need that back. This shit is getting too weird. Like, to me, it all comes down to laziness. You have huge teams of people. I'm not saying I could go make a fucking video game, right? But if I
Right.
have a huge team of people behind me who do this shit for a living, and I'm a lead designer or a lead fucking the guy working on the engine and learning how to get the lighting right, I'm not letting that shit come out that just came out last week. This is my livelihood, and this is after a fucking global pandemic. You got games dropping, like, left and right that ain't even half the budget of ours by teams of 4 or 5 people, completely fucking destroying our pockets. Games like fucking, what's this? Oh, yellow looking sus.
Oh yeah, freaking Among Us. Valheim selling 7 million copies,
Valheim.
and there's 5 people. Yup.
This shit happens every few years where a huge game takes over. You know what I mean? It was Fortnite a few years ago. Then it became Among Us, and then it became Fall Guys, and Warzone is just like everybody fucks with Warzone. They're like, that shit is Call of Duty's been a main game for a lot of people for a long time. Warzone is just really fun. But it's just like I feel like there's a lot of laziness involved in this shit. Like,
Well, yeah, like
I'm
Suits
not.
Russian. Yeah.
Yeah, Suits Russian people are coming up with weird ways to make things work in their favor. I would not be comfortable releasing that shit that they released because it's a reflection of your team, and to the common person, we look at it like it's nothing, right? And sometimes we try to overlook it, or we, for the most part, if there was nobody on Twitter talking shit, all 3 of us amongst ourselves would be like, yeah, that game, I hope it's fixed by the time it fucking comes out, because that shit looks kind of wonky right now. And it would end there. And then we'd see new footage and be like, oh, look, they fixed this and this. Or, nah, that didn't launch. It's launching like shit. You know what I mean? And I'd give it a day or two and see what the reviews are and make the decision if I want to buy it or not. But I can't be on the internet fucking crying about it either. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what kills me. You had a thought? Huh?
Well, yeah, I'm looking at it more and more right now. You know what? I mean, I hear what you guys are saying. It's very possible to manufacture some outrage.
Yeah.
Definitely not impossible in today's climate. But more and more, this is looking like, to me at least, this is just looking like their old playbook, that they're busy making a game, and it doesn't sound like they're super confident about getting it out in the end of the year. Like, it seems like things are tight, you know what I mean, that they're really pushing. So I'm thinking they're like, yo, Team C, get to fucking work on this fucking trailer for us. And they were just like, here are a bunch of assets, there's an engine, put something together, but maybe this has nothing to do with the game. You know what I mean? Like, this just seems like one of those trailers that it is not indicative of what's going to look like in action. And they just put it together for the spectacle of it. And it's going to be like, we might be disappointed, it might not be this fucking graphically good looking when it comes out. That might be the real surprise. Like, yeah, it's 60, but it doesn't look that fucking sharp.
And,
yeah, I mean, it's like original Horizon Zero Dawn doesn't run at 60 either.
And if you look at the well, yeah, because it was just PS4, it still doesn't run. Even on PS5, it still doesn't run unless you're playing it on PC. There's no 60 FPS patch yet, and that's what's weird. It's like, where's that 60 FPS? That should have been out, But
yeah.
if you look at the trailer, just the trailer, you don't have to do it now. But I was looking at the trailer and of Forbidden West, just the regular, like the early game, not the gameplay from the last week, but just the regular trailer, and it has some images from the demo last week, and the lighting's different, at least from what I've seen. I think
you're talking about the announcement trailer from like
like just like the straight trailer where it just shows a little bit of gameplay.
The same area from the gameplay we saw.
Exactly.
It's that beachfront with all those plants and
that's the whole game, right? Imagine.
Oh my God,
that's the whole game.
One island.
You just keep fighting waves of elephants, and that's it. Oh, we didn't say it's part 2. It's Forbidden West, okay?
yeah, I'm looking at it right now too, and it's true. It's literally the location that she's fighting at.
Exactly,
and
but if no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it feels like what I was saying, where they really want to show off that vibrant color and the fact that there's real marine life, and you got so used to seeing robotics in the first game that this game is like, oh shit, there's real crabs and sea animals just walking around, and they're coexisting with that virus that's spreading and creating this shit that's happened in the first game. But the lighting definitely, this I'm telling you, this shit's a fucking fluke. This game is gonna run at 60 frames. I know it. There's no way this shit's not coming out at 60.
It has to.
Yeah, and I don't see ray tracing.
If this game comes out at 60 frames, I will fucking not buy this shit.
Yeah, because
I'm sorry.
I think they upped the contrast because it looks like and the lighting, and they made it look, because it does give it that like very cartoony like CGI look.
Contrast, that pop,
and I think that's what it is, because it looks, if you look at straight CGI, sometimes that can suffer from the same thing. Like CGI looks a little shinier and a little like, pops a little more, and I feel like that's what they were trying to do. Like, look at how great this game looks, but they're gonna tone that. I think they're gonna tone that shit down. There's no way that's lighting. Like I didn't pay attention to the whole hair thing, and ever since you pointed that out, that she goes into a shadow and you still see a bright piece of her head, I'm like, that's what you're showing at 30.
Somebody forgot to unclick something. It's like when you have a Photoshop image and a layer is selected.
Not leaving.
Yeah, like they forgot to turn something off, like the dynamics switch.
Or a suit saw the real trailer and said, "Oh, it's a and saw the extra bright one." It was like, "Show that one. That one looks, like
bright, shiny."
Yeah, I don't know, like it feels like it is the gameplay. So whatever, they up the lighting because the common person is a dummy, right? And doesn't, the layman doesn't really know, right? And it's just a bunch of crying nerds on Twitter, which only makes up a fraction. Because I'm talking about, I didn't even know there was an issue that people were angry until I saw 30 FPS trending. Because everyone on my timeline was in love, not a complaint in sight. And it wasn't until I clicked on the 30 FPS trending link on Twitter that then I saw this is, there goes the PS5. It's a 1080p machine and blah, blah, blah. And all the shit talking was there. And I'm just like, nah. And I didn't see ray tracing. I'm telling you, without ray tracing, there's no reason why this game will be at 30 frames. No reason. That's the only thing that brings it down. 4K and ray tracing on it can't run at 60 locked, but without ray tracing, every game so far runs beautifully at that. So I'm like, I think they're full, and it was built specifically for the PS5. They, with the hardware in mind, there's just no way. I think it's a play. I think that it's a work. I think they're working us, and I agree with that. I think this was like very early footage, showed some lighting examples. It's just to kind of give you a feel, like you said, show off like the marine life, show off all those colors. But when you get the real game, it's gonna be dampened a little bit because the trailer is not as bright. The trailer is not as bright as the gameplay, unless we're just wrong.
Yeah, right. I mean, I honestly, this shit, there's something there that wasn't done that shouldn't have been done.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this game is a long ways off, man. I feel like this shit isn't gonna, at the earliest, I would say March 2022.
You think next year?
Yeah. They're saying the end of this year.
I don't feel it.
I know, it's like, the only reason why I'm like, that might be like really bad is only because I don't see a Christmas release. This is their first or their second really, but like their first full year of the console being out. Christmas, I'm sure they're stockpiling for a Christmas release. You don't want, you want to try to get as many out as you can on Christmas. with no banger this year, like real first party banger, that's a risk. Oh, I feel like it's a big risk. Like, I mean, a shit game, you don't want a shit game, nobody wants a Cyberpunk. So
no. I think they're just shoving this out the door. I think they had a second team make the trailer. They had to put something out there, and they're trying to get this out the door. And they have the main team working on it, working on it, working on it. And so the trailer we saw might not be anything of what the game really looks like because it's just a completely separate team. You know what I mean? Like it's that type of thing, like very segmented. You know, someone completely outside has to do this trailer, and that's what I'm hoping, that this trailer is not actually what the game looks like at all.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, because
like
Mhm.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's it. I
Well,
don't know what I was saying.
what
I was
is
just
it?
gonna say I'd rather get a game that's going to look bad and launch beautiful than a game that looks beautiful now and launches like shit.
Exactly.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
But
And
we're gonna.
like, so, well, I was gonna ask because they also mentioned and sort of like Cyberpunk that they brought more, and I'm starting to hate this term, more verticality with these
Uh,
under locations. You're gonna be going underwater and things like that. Verticality to me has come to mean we're putting you in corridors and then you can go up and down
up.
in
Eh,
narrow places. What happens if that's what this becomes? Do you guys still feel the same? Do you freak out like I'm freaking out?
No, if that ends up becoming, to me, that's the equivalent of what they did with Super Meat Boy, changing it into like a fucking endless runner. You know,
Right.
like that to me is a complete departure from what made the series great.
Yeah.
It doesn't look it doesn't look visually appealing. It doesn't look better than the first one. Like the style is completely whack. You know, like these feel similar to the complaints we have about the New Horizon trailer, like the lighting, everything, like things about it don't look right. If this game ends up launching as a game that looks like the way it looks right now, and it goes from being more like less open world and more linear storyline with like an open world feel, that game is not getting fucking bought
See, and
because
that's exactly what I think it's turning into, dog, and I'm terrified.
I don't know. I mean, I'm just looking at the
yeah,
trailer. I mean, you see her climbing like the side of them. They're giving a hint of a big world, but you're right. Verticality can do that. But
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild had a lot of verticality in it for a Zelda game. It was one of the first games that added that, and the world was massive. And it's possible that they can have both or whatever, and they're hinting at it.
Again,
I'm not saying
we'll
it's impossible. I think you're onto something. I think there's gonna be some differences. I'd honestly be surprised. Like, I don't think you're 100% wrong. I think there's some truth to what you're saying. I think it's possible. I think it's more and more possible that this is
completely wrong.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't believe, you may not be completely wrong, but it's like, again, they show up like, she's about riding the animals, and now they're gonna have I mean, her floating down can be on a smaller scale, so it really depends on how they do it. And it's still a PS4 game, so it's not impossible. Like, if it was a PS5 only and they were trying to max out the graphics, I could see that, because then you're trying to condense it so it looks as good as possible, like they did with God of War. God of War felt like an open world, but really wasn't. It just let you float your little boat over to each dungeon, and that's essentially what it was. So I mean, so
Yeah.
there's I don't know, we'll see what happens, but this 30 FPS shit gotta stop. And I think, like, they need to stop fucking around,
that shit needs
even
to
for
go away forever,
presentations.
man.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's
fuck
done.
that.
We're next gen. Ray tracing, yes, it's nice, but let that be the secondary thing. Like, let that be the, oh yeah, and if you want, there's a fidelity mode, like, but show us that
Like,
sexiness,
yeah, it's either
That's screenshot mode. Ray tracing is screenshot mode for consoles. If you want to completely pause your game and take a picture of it at its absolute most gorgeous, boom, do that. We'll turn on ray tracing for the photo, and then when you actually want to play it and enjoy it, we turn that shit off so you can get your frames.
right? Or
yeah.
but there's games that are doing it, and that's the shit that kills me, because look at Control, is doing it, it's like, and Spider-Man did it. So it's like, we're gonna get there, but I just feel like these suits think they have to make it look crazy. I'm like, a lot of your base PS4, which is your biggest base, haven't seen anything in 60 FPS, in the last couple of years. Like, the biggest game that was 100% 60 FPS on the base PS4 was Metal Gear Solid 5, which looks amazing on the base PS4, was running at 60 FPS, at 1080p. Huh?
So So there's no excuse. I don't know.
Exactly that, and that Fox engine, man, that's a tragedy. But that's for another that's for another day,
Yeah,
because that shit's
yeah.
a tragedy. But anyway,
This shit definitely. The fact that they're not even discussing frame rate or anything, it's like we didn't even need to see this footage this early. Then, you know what I
exactly,
mean?
like
Like for me, it's a matter of I want news on this game as much as anyone else. But the part that is upsetting for me is the fact that there has to be organization on every level when it comes to these games because these fucking state of plays and these IGNs, conferences and these E3 fucking cons, these are coming like a year in advance. Like
mm-hmm.
this shit is coming. Everybody's been working from home for the last year. In a lot of ways it's made shit easier, in some ways it's made it harder. But you know what I'm saying? It's kind of weird to me that knowing that state of play is coming up, that this is what you choose to present. It's not like it looks awful, but it's the little things that make a difference because that kind of shit will annoy me. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I'm not a snob, but I just bought a PS. Like I have a PS5 since it launched. I bought a PS5 at launch. I'm waiting to utilize every single part of the system, to the best of their ability right now, because this is like first gen PS5. You know what I'm saying? So I just want a game like I should be able to look at this. It's not like it's like when you looked at The Last of Us 1 and then they came with Last of Us 2 and you're like, "Oh shit."
Oh.
Hello?
Oh, we lost him.
Hello?
Yeah, there you go. Oh, okay, there you go. You're back. That was crazy. You went.
Oh wow, that's weird.
Wait, you too? Oh, there you go. Oh, you were frozen? I mean, you froze yourself? Oh shit, you look crazy too.
And I was saying that like you saw the difference between Last of Us 1 and 2.
Yeah.
There was a huge difference. It looked like a different environment. Like you could see the power of the system and the engine being utilized, and it was like, oh, okay, this is a complete overhaul. You know what I'm saying? In some ways, I got that like from the combat system and the melee system with Aloy and Horizon. I got some of those vibes, and I think it looks beautiful, but I think that it's not something that I would have shown because of the minor like lighting is a huge detail in the next generation, and it doesn't even look like part one. Like part one looks better than this,
Yeah.
legitimately.
No, it's true. It has deeper colors and it like it's just weird, washed out, like just uneven lighting. It's just so weird. And
It's like they showed like a GTA trailer, but it's 30 FPS and they just show him in a car and he never gets out. They never show any guns. It's just
Or
like
he's like driving in one of those buildings with the parking lot.
right, yeah,
Goes
like
up.
yeah, they show driving in a parking lot and like he gets out and like goes into an elevator and that's it. And the like
well,
okay, it's technically Grand Theft Auto, but that is not the game that we know and love, like
or they just show like a part of the heist, like one quick little heist, like he goes in with the guy and that's all you show. You don't show none of the world, none of the cars, like because that was the big thing. That was like the
you're waiting for like the dude to do the heist. Like you never get out the car. So you like, can you get out the car in this one? Like what the fuck? They didn't even show you getting out the whip.
That's true. Yeah, exactly. Like you don't know what the hell's happening yet. It's true. Like this was so basic, and it's just like y'all didn't even have to do this bullshit, planned, premeditated, obviously scripted scene like that. You didn't need to show that. Like I agree. Like they could have literally showed her be in a field, jump from a cliff, glide down on her shit, and fight a couple of monsters and show the new shit. Like that's like all that what's that called, theater that you showed is doing more harm than and then show her jumping in the water. Like you could have done that without all the theater and just kind of broke it down a little bit. Just showing like you're trying to hype people up.
Show me something in the game. Show me a mission. Show me a fucking quest. There's got to be something unless it's not done in any way and there's nothing to show yet.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is just better handled if they would have waited a little longer and like at another convention have somebody come on stage with a PS5 controller and be like, yeah, this game is running at 60 FPS on the PlayStation 5 hardware, and let me show you what Aloy's been up to, and show us not this. Like, I get what you're saying. I completely get what you're saying. I don't like what I see in terms of how confined it feels.
Right?
I don't like that. It reminds me heavily of a Far Cry game or an Uncharted game where there's a lot of shit going around and it looks beautiful. You can see as far as the eye can, but you can't go there. You can't. You're being stopped by an invisible wall. You're running into leaves and not going anywhere. You know, like shit like that annoys me. Like I've
Yeah.
never I always hated that about games like Max Payne when the game would glitch and you'd fall from like a window to the street level and the design is there but there's not shit to do so you have to reset it.
Yep.
Right.
Like there's no way to like get back to where you were. This is just
It's
a
like it's like the new Tomb Raiders. They're
yeah.
great. They really are great. They've rebooted the series in a wonderful way, but it's not open world. And that game, as good as they are, they'd feel so much better if you could actually explore the fucking jungle. But you can't. The jungle in those games is you enter from a path that you've fallen from some extreme height into, probably.
Yeah.
You've broken like three bones and then reset them or whatever. You're in a corridor where you can go to three separate paths, but they all kind of converge and decon.
Yeah.
But they go the same fucking place.
That's exactly what it is, and you know, I feel like they fucked up, kind of going off course a little bit. But for me, my issue with the newer Tomb Raider games is like you said, they're awesome. I don't have like any real crazy complaints, but overall for the series, you know, they rebooted the series. How many more do you think they're gonna come out with of these? You know, it's kind of like it happened and it's over with, and you know maybe they'll reboot the series again or whatever. But I think their mistake was trying to compete with the Uncharted series. It feels like a feed, you know, just Tomb Raider was what started all that kind of shit in the first place, and then Uncharted is a series that is heavily reminiscent of the Tomb Raider series. Like if Tomb Raider would have came out for the first time when the PlayStation 3 came out, you'd have Uncharted. You know what
Yeah.
I'm
It's
saying? It'd
true.
be the same game. So you kind of have Tomb Raider that influenced games like Uncharted, and then Uncharted was so successful and changed the game. Naughty Dog changed the game so much with their style of theatrics and gameplay and cinematics that now you have games like a lot of adventure games want to be like that. And Tomb Raider started saying, shit, we need to go their route because they got successful with what we were doing and it worked for a little while. But I think what they should have been doing is trying to make Lara Croft into like a more of like a Solid Snake type character. Like
Yeah.
if you would have made the second Tomb Raider game more of like a Snake Eater, where it has kind of like a survival element, and like you're in the
Oh
jungle,
yeah. I didn't even
that
think
shit
about
would have
that.
been fire, bro.
More like discovery, more like more
Yeah, like
finding the tomb. Because this, you just all right. The tomb is that way. Get to that,
do
and
this
then
puzzle real quick, turn this lever, those
yeah.
yeah,
Like if
yeah,
you're like snaky, like you have to find it, you have to survive. Like that's what it is. You nailed it. All these games want to tell stories now. They all want to be like a narrative advent. You know, we all want to tell you this great story that our writer. Fuck you. Give me like an open adventure again.
yeah,
Like give me that. Maybe that's why Star Citizen is so like compelling right now
yeah.
because it's just open. I can go do my
Yeah,
thing.
you could do your thing, and there's a problem where
You could tell me a story like in Fallout. You can tell me a story without fucking holding my hand, running me down
yeah,
hallways. It's like, come on.
That's that's funny. We gotta talk. There's a game. There's this RPG. I can't think of the fucking name right now. It came out not too long ago, and it does that. It's like real strict RPG. Like they throw you in the world, and you gotta figure it out. Like you talk to people, and you kind of just go with what the map doesn't even show you where you are. You gotta legit know how to read the map, like by looking at landmarks and shit, because it doesn't even put your. That's how crazy it is. It's like
All right.
I mean, that's a little deep. I know that's like hardcore, but it's kind of cool if you think about it, because then you learn the game. You know that's the game. That's part of the character of the game.
You're forced to pay attention. You can't be
Exactly.
playing and be like,
yeah,
oh, what? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. You gotta fucking, you gotta, you
yeah.
gotta,
That to me is like I remember when I'd play games and I'd be doing missions or like stuck on something for so long that I was begging for a cutscene. Like
yeah,
fuck, when am I gonna get a break?
yeah,
Like I need to chill. I don't want to play, and then a cutscene would hit, and you're like, oh fuck. Like I don't get that no more. Now it's mostly like a forced tutorial. You know, like I hate. Yo, listen to me. I don't know what this is about me. I hate this shit. In certain games like Uncharted, like a Horizon, even like Death Stranding, you have moments in the game where they force you to slow down and you can't run through certain areas. You have to walk, and the guy next to you is talking. That shit is cool visually, right? I kind of just like the idea of being thrown into a game and figuring shit out. You know what I mean? Like, tell me what does what. If I want to, ask me if I want to go through a tutorial, And if not, just throw me into the game. That's why I respect the Play Dead games. Those are puzzle games that tell you absolutely nothing. There's no cutscenes. There's nothing. It's just X circle back and forward,
Yeah.
and there's not even like the story is like those are silent video games.
Yeah.
Those games don't have dialogue, but they get you. You play those games, and at the end, you're like, "Wow, that was an experience, right?"
Yeah.
You could deliver a crazy in-depth story and keep the game like again. I mean, I use it as an example all the time because I put so many hours into it. But Death Stranding was like a perfect example of a game that had the balance right. Like I could play 6 hours of that game and not hit a cutscene.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
And yeah, and you feel like you did some shit and you explored, and you know, and it felt good to like stumble on certain things. Like I stumbled on the freaking Conan O'Brien being in it. Like I just like stumbled
yeah,
on him, even though it tells you like somebody is there or whatever, but still like it's just cool. Like, you know, like
you're
even
not
though things
expecting
are
to see him.
exactly, and even though things are marked out, you have to like really travel there, and when you get there you feel like you did something just by getting there, you know what I mean? And that's, I think it
Right.
did that really well.
Yeah, I thought it did that incredibly well. And being that he teamed up with Gorilla to get the Decima engine, you got a lot of that atmospheric. Like that game feels like an open world game. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? Like that game and what you see in Horizon, they remind you of the same thing where you could just kind of run off and see what you get into. And I
Yep.
love that about these games. I'm still very much all about the single player experience, but I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of these games get caught up trying to either chase something that others have been way more successful with, or they just find they get stuck not knowing where to go. Like if you would have delivered a game like that last Tomb Raider, but introduced like a survival element and made her more like I really is Tomb Raider is one of those games where I don't know where Lara Croft is in her story. Like I
Right.
know she's been through like hell and back. I just don't know where she is. I don't know like I don't know if the storyline is very compelling. I can't say, but I
It's
thought that that game,
to move on. She needs to like go to her next phase where she's like a
yeah, like I needed like she needed to like be either broken and rise from that or just keep her on
yeah.
this crazy path of crazy shit that's going on. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
think but I think that's where the game got, kind of boxed itself in. You know,
Yeah.
wanted to be so much like a game that has made so many people happy that now it kind of fell by the wayside. A lot of younger kids don't know that Tomb Raider's a reboot, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it lost. It kind of lost what made it at the time. You know, she wasn't that vivacious, kind of curvy woman anymore. She was a lot younger, finding herself vulnerable. She got fucked up a lot. She wasn't like the cool badass anymore.
Yeah, they made her like I love the route that they went with her on these new games.
Yeah.
I just feel like a lot of these games, like you said, they lose a lot of that open world. It's an open world setting. I mean, bro, make an open world game. Like these games, I mean, I know it takes a lot to go into it. It's a lot deeper and a lot more work, and you may not have the budget. But I feel like if you go big or go home, man, these games deserve like a exploration
Yeah.
It's
Like
element.
just, yeah, you know what it is too. It's like these devs, like they feel like when they do make these open world games, then they got to give you busy work. You know what I mean? And I think that that's another problem. It's like it's okay to have, you can do both, but like not make it mandatory. Kind of like I said, Death Stranding did do that well. Like it was this giant, yeah, it was desolate. I'll give you that. It wasn't like a city or anything, but you know when you hit those giant mountains and you made your your not teleporters, but the
Zip
the
lines.
zip line, thank you, when you make the zip lines and stuff like that, like you know it felt crazy to build like a whole road, and you knew that you did that, and that's the
I
busy, that's cool
love
busy
that.
work, you know what I mean? Like that it
Yeah.
mattered, you know. And yes, you still had the regular side quests where you had to deliver extra shit, and that helped you, you know, expand on your world. But I really like the whole idea that you felt all the shit that you built, you know what I mean? And you know, you felt the teamwork, the finding the random bridge because it was internet connected, but you know, it didn't take away from the game. So yeah, no, it's like there that is missing, you know, where you can have an open world game where the busy work is important or feels fulfilling, and still have like the little like, okay, well, if you want to go do a bunch of quests, that's there, but it's not like something you feel like you have to do. Like the way, Cyberpunk is a nice condensed world, but a lot of the side quests are like, the writing might be decent, but a lot of them either don't make sense, or it's it's just not that cohesive, narratively either.
Cyberpunk was a disaster. But just think of because most of the the Rocksteady Batman games, open worlds. It feels like a nice big city. You're not confined around. You're in and out of buildings. You know what I mean? They did it fine. All the Fallout series, of course. Buggy as all fucking. Maybe that's too vast of a world, but you get it. You can go to crazy extremes if you wanted to.
That's true. Yeah.
There was another game I was thinking of that it's sort of like that, where it's just not this very segmented narrative. It's still very open and fun and tells a story perfectly fine without holding your hand. I can't think of the game now, but other games do it, and it's like you have even more power than you've had before. Why you Control? That's what it was. Control. You're in a big ass fucking building that's transforming and moving, and it feels very open. You feel like you can go anywhere, sort of. Even though you're in a building, they still do a better job of making you feel you can go anywhere than other games do.
Interesting.
So it's not just these guys. I don't know. It feels like these guys, they're not very creative. They said that shit worked. Let's do that again.
Yeah, it's not, and it may not even be. It's a lot of that is publisher pressure. It's like deadlines and publisher pressure. So it's like, they may have the idea, but it's like, how long is that gonna take? Well, you need 4 years. No, we need this out in you have 29 months to get it done.
Get a whole lot. So I'll make a game just like that.
Yeah, it's like they don't give a shit. It's like, and then you gotta pitch the game and give a vertical slice, and a lot of times like I said, I think that's why we got this bullshit ass Horizon trailer, because it was just like, we want to wow people without paying attention to any of the finer details that other people are gonna see, and fuck them, you know what I mean? It's like, because I think the game is gonna be good. I think it's gonna have its open world aspect, because like I said, that's what they're advertising in their trailers. I mean, you see her climbing the top of a snowy mountain again, and and they're showing this giant world, so it's like, and there hasn't been any mention of any changes. So I just hope they don't try too hard with this one, which is not impossible. And maybe, who knows, maybe they Gorilla, look at what happened with the PC. I don't know who did Gorilla handle the PC release as well as rather did they handle their PC release? I don't even know, because remember, that was a shit show when the Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh yeah.
The PC release was a shit show. It was horrible for like that first month or so, and I honestly don't know how long it took to get fixed, but I know it took at least a month, maybe 2.
Probably took a while, yeah, because I know now it's better, but I don't know how like now it was like better, so it's probably a while before it got good.
I mean, it's showing that the developer's still Gorilla. It wasn't like this was so who knows if they. I'm like, they had a lot of issues porting it, so I mean, who knows if like maybe that's why this trailer wasn't isn't living up to what it should be. Who knows? I mean, it's hard to say. Oh, like you said, it's their B team, who threw it together, and it's because like you said, it's like it's the regular trailer was pulled from that, so it's like, what's going on here? Imagine this shit's like, it's still like 2 years off. No, I don't know what we. I don't know where you get that 2021.
I really do feel like this game is gonna get delayed into mid 2022.
I hope not, man.
It feels like that, because it's like again, this is a common thing these days. It happened with Last of Us like so many times. I still feel the only reason that game even came out when it did is because of those leaks. I feel like somebody said, "Fuck it, we have to do it." They probably wanted to take their time. We kept feeling like that game was never gonna come out. It got pushed back like 7 times.
That's true.
So I don't put it past these people, man. When the suits get involved, there's a lot of shit that happens that's unnecessary. And I'm sure if you left it up to, the developers and the creators themselves, they'd probably do a much better job without the pressure of these fucking morons in the back.
Exactly. And I was gonna say I mean, if you think about it, they could also. I don't know. I'm not saying that they are gonna do it or not, but I mean, they could look at Microsoft and say, "Hey, they pushed back Halo. That took balls." To say fuck it, you know what? Because that was supposed to release in November, and it's been there's still no release date of when it's really gonna come out. So I think we're gonna get that in a couple of days when the E3 Xbox Bethesda event happens, and I'm excited. This is the first time since Xbox 360 I am hype for that 360 for that Xbox Bethesda showcase, I am hyped. I'm more hyped for that than anything else. I really cannot wait. That's the 9th?
The 9th, I think. Yeah, that's when everything's kicking off, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting that. Like this month is fucking the month.
Yeah. That's gonna be a big deal. I can't wait to make that episode for that because we're gonna be shitting on anybody who fucks up. I hope I'm not, but you know, let's see what happens.
We're gonna have a list.
We said again?
Like after E3, that's when I'm gonna have like definitely some hard opinions about games coming out at the end of the year. So Horizon, that means you. If you still look like shit at E3,
if they even show it, because remember Sony's not there, so we'll see. I think there's gonna be another showcase, but they're technically not at E3.
They're not having anything there.
So Sony's not gonna be at E3 at all?
Nah.
Really?
That's why the State of Play, this is part of like their, I think they're gonna do something for like Summer Games Fest, because that's not really like an event that you go to. So, or they could release news that next week. You know what I mean? We don't know yet. It could just be news.
I know they do TGS. They're not skipping that.
Yeah, but they haven't been at E3 since 2019. Well, they weren't. Since 2019 they weren't at E3, and then nothing happened last year, and then this year again. Oh, there's a rumor though that they're gonna at the end of June they're gonna do a PlayStation experience supposedly, and take this with
June 28th.
Yeah, let's take that with the biggest grain of salt ever, because it's a 4chan leak. So, giant or the tiniest grain of salt ever.
Gotta do something, though,
I mean,
they're gonna do something. Come on, they have to. If they don't, they're idiots. But it's not technically E3.
Yeah, coming off the heels of a fucking pandemic and being as disappointing, they've had a pretty disappointing year, I think, in terms of feedback. Like a lot of feedback was negative for video games this year. Like it's been a long time since we had a game year where everybody was just fucking ecstatic. So for me, it kind of feels like Sony is in a position where they have to kind of get a certain audience back, or kind of be the buzz again. You haven't heard Sony really be the buzz since the PS5, and that wasn't a good thing either. Like, sold out systems gives the impression that a business is booming, which it is, but at the same time, it's a frustrating experience for a lot of people. So Sony has been taking some shots pretty much the whole year. I think this is a good year if they're going to do their, PS experience or whatever they have ready to show at some convention. I think that it's a safe bet to say they're going to show something involving Ragnarok.
Yeah.
A Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, or Marvel Spider-Man 2, like an actual 2, not a fucking Miles Morales expansion.
Yeah.
But like an actual sequel, because I'm pretty sure that kid that came in and replaced Peter, like the guy that played Peter in the original game.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they had that guy working, like he did that remaster, and they threw him directly into part 2. Like, all right, we gotta get busy. And it was probably like scheduling. We don't know the full. You already know how these stories go. In 10, 15 years, we'll hear the full story of why that guy left, or why he was replaced, and how they did him dirty, or he didn't find out until his agent called him, or some stupid shit like that. Because that's what these companies do. They don't take accountability. And like I think that they're gonna show I think Spider-Man and like Ragnarok's probably gonna be two big ones. There's rumors of Mortal Kombat creators coming this year with some new shit. I don't know what it's gonna be, but I don't know. I'm hoping it's an exciting thing, an exciting experience. Maybe we get some Kojima news this year on his next title.
Yeah, I'm definitely hoping to hear at least something, a name or a little teaser. Because I'm like, if anything, Kojima's coming, it's probably not till. Wait, when did Death Stranding come out? It's end of 2019 so far, right? It's been
2024. Well, 2025, 2024 at least.
Yeah.
No more video games. He's making series now, and I'm into it. Series exclusive for Netflix, directed by Hideo Kojima.
Hey.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's wrap it up.
Start doing movies.
I'll watch it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he wants to get more into Hollywood. So I mean, if he did that with a game tie-in, I think that could work. But
It's a Netflix game kind of oriented series with music by Trent Reznor.
That'd be sick. I mean, if you gave me a Metal Gear Solid series on HBO Max with Kojima involvement, Del Toro, and like Just the same idea they got right now, director-wise, and just make it into a series. I feel like this. I feel like series are the future. Like, you want to get deep.
Just thought of it.
Yeah, like
What?
Yoko is given the Master Chief story with the Trent Reznor soundtrack, and it follows Master Chief through the camp as a young kid as they turn him into the Spartan.
Oh shit, that could be so because he loves trauma.
yeah,
He's good on
It's almost
trauma.
a big story, except with Master Chief, so it doesn't have quite as many twists and turns with the twins and all that. We clean that up a little bit. But Master Chief, the government,
We
all that.
and
I'm
if
sure you don't.
rumors are to be believed, because Xbox for not releasing no games this year, gotta come with the heat. And tell me at the end of, or yeah, towards the end of that presentation, okay, you get the Bethesda out the way, you fucking show that, boom, Starfield coming out, whatever, here's gameplay and whatever, Halo Infinite, Halo Infinite dropping, September for sure, here's the hard date. And then at the end of that shit, fucking Kojima comes out with fucking, meet up with Phil Spencer, because that's the rumor, everyone's turning him down, so Xbox is like, that if that's true,
he was a survivor, bro. He knows that he's gonna go where the money goes. He's not a that's a real business dude. Like, he knows where to go. All he cares about is, I need to have creative control.
Yeah.
I need time to release this. You're not gonna be rushing me, and I need my budget. This is the budget. If I'm not getting that budget, I'm good. I'm not doing that.
and an exclusive to Game Pass. Bro, this could be the budget he needs, because it don't gotta sell, and that's what people don't realize. People are like, oh, there's no way Xbox is I should have mentioned this before because I forgot, like the last time. Xbox is in a position to release multiple bangers in the same month and it won't affect them. Why? Because all you want is optics. That's all you want. All they're selling right now is optics. Get you $10 a month. You get Metal Gear 6, you get Fallout 7, and you get everything in the same month on Game Pass. It don't fucking matter if it don't sell, because guess what? Everyone's gonna subscribe for that shit. Everyone. They're gonna make their grandmothers fucking subscribe to that shit. It don't matter anymore. When sales are out of the equation, then it don't matter. You could take exactly, and that's what people are not real. Oh, there's no way that bangers could come out. They're gonna release I'm like, why not? It don't matter. It doesn't have to sell. It needs to get subscribers, and that's what we're gonna be seeing. I think that's the plan. I think that now you can have, they can have multiple studio releases monthly if they want. You know what I mean? Banger after same week if they want. You can have two big ass competing series come out the same week. It don't matter, because guess what? People are gonna subscribe.
That's like everything. I mean, Netflix showed the way, and then Disney Plus. Like, everybody's going subscription model because that's where it's at. We don't want one time $60 because you might not spend $60 in a few months, in 3 months. But if I can lock you in for a year with a solid $15 every fucking month,
exactly,
and we do this for 5 years, I'm gonna squeeze way more.
And guess what? Now you subscribe for that one banger. It takes you a month to get that shit out the way, or a week, depending on the player. Let's say the casual, right? Because that's where the money's at. All the casuals, right? So you take time to beat that game. Guess what? That other banger that came out that same week, now you can start that one. Don't fucking matter. By the time you finish that one, another banger just came out, and another Bethesda's title or whatever. Now they, it doesn't matter anymore. It really.
DLC for that game you really like, well, just give us $10. It's only $10, and that game was free.
Right? Exactly. And then you could have that. Who is it? The people who made Obsidian. You can have, because aren't they coming out with their own like Elder Scrolls type of RPG? Remember, they only show like the hand, and it looks. You could release those two games in the same week. It don't matter. Like, they probably won't, because you do want some strategy, so you can have another like, hey, look, another game. But again, if they did, it wouldn't matter. You can say you get Elder Scrolls this month, and in 30 days you get fucking Obsidian's fucking RPG. It really doesn't matter.
And all that they need to really complete it and really have a fucking stranglehold on it is one MMORPG.
Oh my god.
If Kojima says, yeah, I want to bring Metal Gear Online to Game Pass, that's it.
Exactly. It's true. You get access to this game. You can either pay a monthly sub, that makes a lot of sense. You either pay the monthly sub or you just subscribe to Game Pass. There you go. That's a fucking genius move, actually.
I feel like these rumors have some truth to them. I don't know why. It just feels like
it makes
whenever
sense.
that man stays silent, it just feels like it ends up being true. And I mean, for me, it feels like I have a hard time believing that it's going to be a brand new IP because he just did that with Death Stranding. I feel like if he's making the move to Xbox and they want to certify a banger, because Kojima's too much of a wild card, they're not going to try to repeat what they just did with Xbox, what they just did with Sony. Where it's like, yo, that was an amazing game. But we don't want that gray area of people debating why it's good or why it's bad. We want this shit to pop regardless. It's gonna have something to do with some type of previous IP. If that's happening, I feel like it's gonna be some type of Xbox exclusive Silent Hills game, a Metal Gear.
Remember, Bloober's working apparently on the next Silent Hill, so it's not impossible.
Just don't give me a Raiden game, please. I don't want.
Yeah, nah. If he has anything to do with it, he won't do that because he didn't do Raiden.
Yeah, that was Platinum.
Yeah,
Platinum did.
Yeah, so he's more of the person I think that as a safe bet for something. This is me just thinking, like, if I'm Kojima and I have this history in the game industry, I've been kind of shunned in a lot of ways, and I'm in this position where my budget, I'm not working with Sony no more. They don't want to do my next game. I thought I had something good with them. Yeah. I'm not gonna really follow up. I don't think he would release a Death Stranding sequel on Xbox. The shit makes no sense. People are it's gonna be completely foreign, to them. Yeah. I feel like
it was such a good standalone, like, you know what I mean, like.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that he said that I'm pretty sure he expressed some interest in doing like a sequel, and he said that if they did a sequel, it would be before all the shit that you see in this game happens. So you're experiencing all of these cataclysmic events that led to where they are now.
That makes sense. I guess that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that game would be a lot more, filled with people. Like now you're in the Death Stranding, you're pretty much the only person walking around above ground. I feel like that game would show like kind of the downfall of people leading to that. Kind of like us pre-COVID. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you'll see us. You see people living life regularly above ground, knowing that there's a threat coming, and then it getting out of hand and being forced underground in order to survive.
Yeah, that sounds right. Like a Children of Men type of thing, right? Like, where you see like people getting put in camps and all kinds of fucked up wildness. I mean, it's possible. He did a lot of weird shit with Metal Gear Solid 5. Like that shit was was some real wildness. Yeah.
I think that if there is a game that's gonna come out with Kojima under Xbox, I think that it will be a Metal Gear title. I don't know why. I just feel so strongly about that.
It's possible.
Yeah, like I feel like they would do that. Also, because of the fact that PlayStation Metal Gear games never came out on PlayStation on Xbox until 5, right?
No, Part 2 came out.
Part 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 and 3, 2 and 3 together came out for 360. Metal Gear,
really?
Yeah.
Yo, that's so crazy. To my knowledge, I never even thought, like, from my mind, they were always like just they were always Sony games.
Nah, Subsistence, Metal Gear Solid 2 Subsistence came out on the OG Xbox.
Oh, that's true. I remember that. That is true.
Yeah. That's actually the one I played. I forget, it had something extra in it.
And you could like skateboard and shit. Yeah, it had like extra stuff. But yeah, we gotta wrap it up, guys. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes, so I'm sorry, but yeah, we gotta wrap it up. But yeah, I mean, this is a good talk. Like I said, like there's a lot coming. I'm excited. Those fucking those fucking games really need to be stop at 60. I mean, that's pretty much the point. And then everything else.
Bare minimum. It is the year 2021.
Yeah, bare minimum.
60. Stop it.
Yeah, but yeah, I think that's it from me. Any last words from you guys?
Man, let's hope they drop some bombs on us the next month. I'm tired of being disappointed with these fucking presentations. Every time I get hyped for one, I gotta go in not expecting much. And I know we just experienced a pandemic and it's a lot of shit, but again, man, you're in the industry, stop being lazy, man. You gotta treat it like a mini release, have that presentation ready. I don't need to be seeing Aloy look crazy. Like, any money they're gonna make her face slimmer too.
Right after all the. All right.
Like there's literally no reason for her face to look like she gained weight. I don't care about that, but at the same time, it's like, who the fuck just redesigned her whole fucking head?
I say make her look fatter.
Right?
Yeah, like who was dragging and dropping shit on the mouse and pulled her fucking shit apart and just like clicked export? That's what happened.
Right. All right, guys. All right, thanks everybody for tuning in. If you made it all the way to the end here, I really appreciate you. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Let's go Knicks.
Yo.